A baby girl. Nine's Alison Petrowski reports from the US.
Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, Lily for short, was born at 11:40am on Friday, June 4 at Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital, weighing in at 7 pounds 11 ounces, roughly 3.5 kilos. Meghan and Harry announcing the news in a statement this morning. She is more than we could have ever imagined, and we remain grateful for the love and prayers we've felt across the globe. Lilibet is named after her great-grandmother, Her Majesty the Queen, whose family nickname is Lilibet. Diana, chosen to honour her late grandmother, the Princess of Wales. Lily is the Queen's 11th grandchild and is 8th in line to the throne.
More Hoon drivers could see their four wheels crushed or sold for scrap metal. From July 1, failure to pay the fine in full on time will see the car destroyed. There are currently 475 vehicles impounded in SA. Support for the major political parties is neck and neck, but the Prime Minister's popularity has taken a hit in the latest opinion poll. Nine's Michael Packey has the details.
For the first time in 4 months, both the Coalition and Labor hold 50% support after preferences. It's another sign the next federal election will not be a shoo-in for the Morrison government. The news poll reveals Scott Morrison retains a healthy lead as preferred Prime Minister over opposition leader Anthony Albanese, but his popularity is down on the previous survey, as the federal government is forced to sheet home some of the blame for the latest lockdown in Victoria. Mr Morrison has moved to address issues with the vaccine rollout and quarantine.
Victoria will receive an additional 100,000 doses of the FIVEaa COVID vaccine over the 3 weeks. The additional supply will start arriving from June 14. Federal Health Minister Greg Hunt says the number of doses of AstraZeneca being made available to GPs will double to 230,000.
That's a recognition of the very strong work being done here in Victoria and the strong demand. We want to see other states and territories have that same degree of public support and confidence.
Pharmacists argue if they were allowed to vaccinate people against COVID, the rollout could be finished up to 3 months faster. The Pharmacy Guild of Australia has released modelling pushing for the sector to be more involved. So far, Queensland is the only state including community pharmacists in the distribution. Qantas says it hasn't been told about any investigations into links between employees and organised crime. It's believed a federal law enforcement intelligence operation has been looking into criminal links of airport workers. But the airline says it knows nothing about the existence of a report on the issue, and no concerns have been raised about vetting practices. Russian officials are threatening to pull out of the International Space Station as soon as 2024 and shift to an independent project. The US has jointly run the orbiting laboratory for 2 decades and has expressed interest in going through to at least 2030. NASA's new chief, Bill Nelson, says it would not be good if Russia walks away.
If Russia starts just depending on China, then I expect we would have a whole new race to the moon with China and Russia against the US. But I don't anticipate that.
Now to FIVEaa Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Fluorio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football, and Port Adelaide's players will train this morning as they prepare for this Thursday night's blockbuster against Geelong. The Power had the bye on the weekend. The Crows are set to come out of quarantine after their match against Collingwood on Saturday. They'll play again this Saturday night against St Kilda. 2 games to wrap up round 12 yesterday, with West Coast 22-point winners over Carlton, while the Bulldogs had a 28-point win over Fremantle. To motorsport, Australia's Daniel Ricciardo has climbed 4 places from his starting position to finish 9th at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and he says he's happy to be in the points places.
In a race like this, anything can happen. We could be, podium top 5, or you could be in the wall on lap 1, so we'll take it.
The race was won by Mexico's Sergio Perez, while Sebastian Vettel was 2nd and Pierre Gasly was 3rd. Meantime, Aussie Jack Miller has finished 3rd at the Catalan MotoGP overnight, the race won by Miguel Oliveira. The Adelaide 36ers season has ended in disappointment after being humbled by 22 points at home against Melbourne United. The Sixers finished the season in 7th place. The Adelaide Thunderbirds have recorded their first win of the season after beating the Melbourne Vixens by 6 goals. And Adelaide United's players will train this morning as they prepare for their knockout A-League final against the Brisbane Roar on Sunday. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Windy with showers developing today, a top of 21. Tomorrow showers and 13. Wednesday a shower or two, 14. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Monday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, we're off to the US. There's a new royal in town. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Also, the police minister here in South Australia, Vincent Tarzi, we're hoping to catch up with him because car crushing is back on the agenda. Federally, the finance minister will join us, Simon Birmingham, after 8 o'clock today. Has a decision been made with regard to the full cycle docking of the subs? We think it has. We'll talk to him about that, the industry, and the future of the future submarine program after 8 o'clock. Also, the host of Channel 7's Sunrise program, David Koch, will join us. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. It's going to be interesting, this conversation with Simon Birmingham, because he's the kind of guy, normally when he gets wheeled out by the government, we call him the show's over, folks, nothing to see here guy, because he's one of those blokes in politics who, when everyone else around is losing their head, going berserk, you often hear him in the middle of leadership crises coming on. And
it's when he comes into his own.
3 minutes in, it's like there's a song in the kids' TV show, Pokemon, called Jigglypuff, that the Pokemon character sings, Jigglypuff, Jiggly, and it's designed to send people to sleep. And I always think of Burma as the Jigglypuff guy. But,
he is the damage control expert.
He is. He's superb at it.
In the federal government.
And as a journo, sometimes it's frustrating, but I just think you just got to sit back and enjoy the ride.
If he's weaker at preventing damage or not giving quotable moments on anything, it's going to be South Australia because it's his patch.
Well, this is where it's interesting, because I reckon he'll know.
I agree.
Because there's a lot of money involved in it, and he's the finance bloke. So, he'd be across the details. And I tell you what, with all the speculation around the future of the naval group and the attack class subs, even though I still think that's overblown.
It feels like a negotiating tactic.
Yeah, it's like the Feds just every 3 months dropping a sneaky yarn at the corner of their mouths to the Financial Review or Robert Gottlieb's and to keep them on their toes.
It feels like,
which is fair enough, given they're spending $90 billion.
Well, you know what it feels like? It feels like when you're building your house. I haven't done this, but I know enough people have, where you go out on site every few months. Well, you're behind schedule, guys, and we're not paying for that anymore because you've stuffed that up. And the whole thing is about trying to make sure that all the add-ons and the little extras and the, what do they call them, adjustments, the alterations, that the cost doesn't get out of control and the timeline is right. But you've got to go out on site occasionally and say, hey, what's going on here? Why is no one building right now?
Seriously, I reckon I must have been lucky, because when I built a house, I actually miss it. When I built that house in Aldinga, every part of the process, I loved it.
Well,
Hocking Constructions.
You did well.
They're the people.
Good on them.
I reckon
they deserve
are.
a shout out.
They do. They are an excellent family business here in Lonsdale. And since I built that house with them, which was 10 years ago this year, I think, they've won heaps of awards. They're guns.
Now, Harry and Meghan have welcomed their daughter into the world. Baby, that's the mother of all tribute names. Lilibet, which is, of course, the Queen's childhood nickname.
Yeah.
Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor.
Wow.
So it's a tribute to her great-grandmother, her grandmother. And, of course, then it carries the names of the royal houses, Mountbatten.
So, given name, Lilibet.
Lilibet, given name. Lily, they say they'll call her.
Wonder how the Queen feels about that.
You'd be chuffed, wouldn't you? If you're a grandparent, putting aside the politics of the family.
Yeah, well, who knows at the moment. maybe she'll issue a statement. I've decided on reflection I'd like them to come up with another name. I don't want that spoilt brat naming his daughter after me.
As you've heard in 5AA News, the Lilibet with the Queen's 11th great-grandchild, 8th in line to the British throne.
11th great-grandchild?
Yep.
Of course. Great-grandchild, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's
11 great-grandchildren.
She's done extremely well.
She has.
She's done extremely well. It is.
She has.
It's a big name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you put Mountbatten Windsor on the end, they all start to become tongue twisters. It sounds royal.
Yeah, yeah.
Wonder if any of our listeners have a name that's a bit of a tongue twister when you put them all together. When you put all the names together, they're not always simple. It doesn't always work.
No.
And I say this as someone who has my mother's maiden name in the middle, so it kind of...
Oh, really? What's that?
So I'm William Graham Bolden Goodings.
Bolden
is in the middle, which makes it,
not hyphenated.
Not hyphenated, just in there.
Should hyphenate it.
And see, this is... I wonder
imagine if
people...
it was called Breakfast with Dave Penberthy and William Bolden Goodings.
My mother would be delighted if that was the case, I can tell you.
We gave the boys Kate's middle name.
Yep.
Sorry, surname is their middle name.
Yeah. I think it's a nice gesture.
Hang on. Samuel Christopher Ellis Penberthy.
Yep.
Chris is Kate's dad, died when she was very young. And then we got Charlie Frederick Ellis Penberthy. And Frederick is my Uncle Fred, who died about 6 years ago.
I think that's a nice tradition that we have, when you honour other members of the family and recognise them in the...
Well, in Greek culture, because I know this well because my ex-wife's Greek, you go to a Greek wedding, call someone Nick or Chris in her family, and you're going to get it right. You've got a 50-50 chance of getting it right.
Because it's named after each father and grandfather.
Named after your father, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so our daughter, Soph, is Tula. Her middle name's Tula.
Yep.
Stamatia, after George's mum, late mum, who died last year. And then Jim is Dimitri. Not given as Dimitri, but my father-in-law, George's dad, is Dimitri.
Yeah.
So he's named after my ex-wife's dad, which is the Greek way. But what we did for Jim was we gave him my dad's name too. So he's James Lloyd.
Oh, that's good.
James Lloyd Penberthy.
That's good.
James Lloyd Penberthy sounds like he's going to be Prime Minister between the Great War and the onset of World War II, doesn't he?
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
James Lloyd Penberthy.
Big advocate for the gold standard.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. That's right.
I just wonder...
Rising belligerence on the part of the Hun.
Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor is going to have an issue filling out passport declaration forms.
Yeah.
I struggle to fit it in. We'd go to some countries when it has the little thing, and
there's never enough boxes.
There's never enough boxes.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've got listeners in the same boat. 82230000, or send us a text if you can fit all the characters in with your full name on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line.
Have you ever noticed on the back of the US visa form when you get there and with the visa waiver program, there's that thing on the fine print which says, "How did you rate the filling out of this form?" And there's some committee in America, some government department with a name like the form filling in monitoring committee.
Is that I'd not noticed that before.
Going, I'll give you 6 out of 10.
Good try.
Yeah,
but not enough boxes.
It's like the Mitre 10 spinometer. You don't know whether a low mark or a high mark's good.
That's right. All right, we're going to take a short break. News headlines coming up in just a moment.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. I'm no fortune teller, but if you don't have solar on your roof, I can tell you your next power bill is going to be huge. There's a price for keeping warm all winter, and you're about to pay it. Stop paying huge bills. Get in touch with NRG Solar, and from just $59 a fortnight, you could have a quality NRG solar system on your roof. From just $59 a fortnight, you could wipe out your power bills. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
Escape the city this winter and enjoy some quality time by the Murray. Why not book your next getaway to the beautiful town of Mannum? With the help of SA Weekend Escapes, plan an outdoor trip in the fresh winter air. Find the best things to see and do, and uncover our latest hotel offers for stays around SA. Plus, book your getaway with one of 10 SA hotels this winter, and you'll receive a complimentary bottle of Penfolds Red to warm up your trip. Visit saweekendescapes.com.au to find out more. Holiday here this year.
If the COVID-19 restrictions have impacted your fitness, the service you receive, or your ability to stay connected, perhaps someone you know has been affected, aged care provider ACH Group, in partnership with the Adelaide Primary Health Network, have free health and wellbeing packages available.
And also, if you or someone you know is aged 65 above or 55 above for people of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander background, and you also live in metropolitan Adelaide, you may qualify for one of these special packages which have been developed by health professionals and can be tailored to suit your individual needs.
So, over a 6-week period, package recipients will be connected with services and activities including general practice, allied health, mental health, and social support networks to improve physical activity, regain and maintain independence, build and strengthen social connections, and to support access to technology for online and virtual connection. If you want to find out more, all you need to do is head to achgroup.org.au.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Barossa and Clare has always been well worth the trip, and even more so with their end of financial year sale on all certified cars. They currently have SA's largest selection of all makes and models, with a balance of factory warranty on selected models and free 3-year Steinborner certified warranty on SUVs and passenger cars. That's massive value at Steinborner Automotive with their end of financial year sale. Hurry, ends June 30. Steinborner Holden, well worth the trip for 37 years. Steinborner.com.au.
Curtis here. I believe produce that's grown better tastes better, which is why at Coles we pick all our fresh fruit and veg from Aussie farms first.
Like in season, Aussie has avocados, just $1 each.
Coles, value the Australian way.
Offer ends Thursday, June 10.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
17 after 6, news headlines on this Monday morning. The aged care COVID cluster at a Victorian facility continues to grow. 2 new cases were confirmed late yesterday. One is a 79-year-old resident. The second is a registered nurse. The positive cases will go into today's figures.
So 4 cases. Only 4 cases yesterday. And they know exactly where everyone's contracted it.
Mm-hmm. And 2 of them were asymptomatic because they've been vaccinated.
Right.
So people didn't even know that. They were just testing everyone.
Do you lock the whole state down for 4 people?
If you are Victoria, you do.
I reckon it's turning into it's turning into an act of state-sponsored vandalism and pig-headedness there. Like all this stuff about it's all about the health advice. It's partially about the health advice. You got no real premier with Andrews off, so you got the B team running the joint. I actually think it's now become a matter of political pride for that government that they are deliberately keeping people locked up because to do any different this early in the piece, early in their minds, would represent a loss of political face.
Yeah,
it's one of the most grotesque things I have seen, and the damage that it's doing to kids, to businesses, to people's mental health. Like, surely they've got to look beyond this minuscule number of cases as being their only benchmark for how they respond to these things. They are totally screwing Australia's economy, which means people's jobs, not people's profits, people's jobs. And I don't know, like, are we as a state just going to... I mean, the Geelong game's in doubt for Thursday.
If you're a Geelong player seriously, right now, they're quarantining for the next 3 days. Their kids can't go to school and their partners can't go to work.
This
in
is
the lead up to the
stupid.
game.
We're at a point where, as a community, and the people who are ostensibly running the state need to ask themselves, do we leave ultimate decisions of this nature to people who think you can catch the coronavirus off footballs?
In every other state, dexterity and agility when it comes to decision-making is seen as a strength. We thought we'd be here, we're here, we've ended it. We did it here in South Australia. New South Wales does it all the time. Victoria, it seems to be the opposite. It seems to be a sign of weakness. We said it was going to be 7, and damn sure it's going to be 7.
But do we keep our border ban in place just on the basis of what they do? Is it?
Well,
I suppose politically it's easier to do that for the state government because for all the nervous Nellies out there, the question will become, why is the SA government letting them in when...
It's politically a lower risk strategy to say, well, we're relying on their health advice.
Well, it's not up to us. It's not up to us to stop the Victorian lockdown.
No, that's right.
I'm starting to think maybe Gladys Berejiklian should just run the country.
Victoria will receive an additional 100,000 doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine over 3 weeks. The additional supply will start arriving from the 14th of June. Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk will receive her first coronavirus vaccine today. Stephen Marshall, you might recall, received the Pfizer jab back in February. The Victorian Sports Minister has said he has absolute confidence the AFL Grand Final will be played at the MCG this year. It's the only thing they seem to be able to say with any confidence in Victoria. There is some talk that the game should be moved to Optus Stadium in Perth after what some are calling a successful audition in the weekend's Dreamtime at the G-Clash. I think Victorians were genuinely surprised a big blockbuster football game could be held anywhere else.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit of a
real shock to the system. Gold Coast Chairman Tony Cochrane says the Victorian government's hopeless management of the COVID-19 crisis means it's almost probable the grand final will have to be played away from the MCG for the second year in a row.
How's that for craven opportunism?
A mission to cut what is left of netting tangled around a whale will resume at first light. The mammal was first spotted in waters off of Sydney, tangled in Coogee Beach in ropes and all sorts of navigational buoys and things of that nature.
It's whale season over there. It's amazing. Like, I was talking to the kids about it last night. They said, "Did we ever see whales when we were little in Sydney?" I said, "Yeah, we saw them all the time." But they were too young to remember. But the southern right whales on their breeding migration heading south, it's really common to see them at the beach. It's amazing.
Whales are a nice thing to see here in this country. Spare a moment for the good people of Turkey. The Turkish president is vowing to save the country's shores from sea snot, which is building up in its waters.
What?
A thick, slimy, mucus-like substance spreading across the sea near Istanbul. The matter is hurting marine life and the fishing industry.
Sea snot?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it.
Are they going to deploy some giant hanky?
I think that's what's required.
Who was that artist? Christo. The guys to wrap things up.
Yeah, I think.
Get him to make a giant hanky.
The weather is a story today and will be for the next 48 hours. Top of 21 today, but the real fun really starts this afternoon. If you like rain, you're going to love the next 2 days. 15 mils potentially the top today. Then tomorrow up to 20 mils of rain. We have 35 mils of rain over the next 48 hours. It'll be more compressed than that because the rain today, the expectation, according to the Bureau, is they'll come around mid-afternoon. But we'll talk to the Bureau about that and nail it down more specifically in about 15 minutes' time. 23 after 6, Tom Wren in a moment.
When you think surgery, you think hospital, right? Well, Dr. Greg Keane wants you to think SportsMed.
SportsMed is the only purpose-built orthopaedic hospital in the country, with world-class nursing and theatre staff, a first-class catering team, and the latest innovations in patient treatment and care.
And your surgeons?
We're experts in all procedures for hips, knees, feet, ankles, shoulders, elbows, wrists and hands.
All your treatments, all your care. One place. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your successful surgery.
Sportsmed.com.au.
At the Australian Building Company, we love building things. Homes, trust, relationships. And now you can move into your dream home even sooner because we make all the paperwork and the decisions easy as. Plus, there's no unexpected surprises with our fixed price contract delivered in just 7 days. You'll love building with us as much as we'll love building with you. Visit australianbuildingcompany.com.au.
Over the last 18 months, our state has been hit hard. COVID-19 did a number on us. Before that, it was bushfires. But, David, we've pushed through.
We certainly have. We've all watched South Australian business owners working hard to keep jobs, create jobs and strengthen our economy.
And to keep our businesses strong, there are a wide range of funding and support initiatives, all accessible through the SA Business Hub app.
Now, these include training incentives, regional job support and more, all aimed at reducing the cost of doing business. Because the stronger our businesses are, the stronger our state will be.
For all the information that you need to keep your business strong, it's as simple as downloading the SA Business Hub app. SA Business Hub, HUB. Head to the App Store on whatever phone or device you've got and download it.
We love to see you CMI Lane.
With the end of financial year fast approaching, now is the time to visit CMI Toyota, SA's #1 selling Toyota dealer. What are you waiting for? CMI Toyota has incredible deals on a range of new and pre-owned vehicles. So hurry in and secure your new Toyota now. Visit CMI Toyota today at West Terra City, Cheltenham or Christie's Beach.
We love to see you CMI Lane.
Oh, what a feeling, Toyota.
I'm high.
Your local, the Excelsior Hotel has a brand new menu.
On it, you'll find char-grilled octopus, brilliant, fish tacos, yes please, and an absolute favourite, braised lamb shanks. Oh, bring it on. Head to your local, the Excelsior Hotel, and check out the new winter menu. The Excelsior, it just keeps getting better. 110 Coghlan Street, Brompton. You just know it's a Barreau hotel.
Hey, guess what I'm thinking?
Again? I guess we could make it a quickie.
Okay.
Actually, it's such a nice night. We should do it on the deck.
Yeah.
For quick and easy new twists to old family favourites, just get some pork on your fork.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
26 minutes after 6, Tom Wren in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. 3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. FIVEaa Milk Company in your supermarket now. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Yeah, what a great company. They are South Australia's. Gee, I'll go through my winners and losers from the weekend. I've got a top 3 and a bottom 3 for both. I'll start with the top 3. It's a positive, but not so much if you're a Crows fan. Jamie Elliott, I thought, was the big winner from the weekend. 6 goals. He was the difference, wasn't he?
He was.
Kicking straight. That goal, Shane McAdam put Adelaide in front. You thought, now they're home. And then 30 seconds later, what a goal on the run. His game was magnificent.
I'll tell you what, if I was Luke Brown, I'll be negotiating my contract right now. I don't know where he's at in the contract cycle, but I'd be asking for a new one.
Yep, they missed him, didn't they?
They certainly did.
Late withdrawal, and Elliott, would he have kicked 6?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah, maybe half, if that.
Yep.
But well done, Jamie Elliott. Great game. Optus Stadium, I'm going to give that a big tick as a winner from the weekend. They held a neutral game between Richmond and Essendon, albeit 2 high-drawing teams, but 55,656 fans. Well done to the public of WA for getting behind that game.
Yeah, totally.
It was a great game too. When Essendon got in front again, I thought, this is unreal. And then Richmond, 7 goals in 10 minutes. That's as breathtaking a 10-minute period as I've seen from one team this season. Another big tick winner from the weekend, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. They should have won the week before, but they finally break their duck. So hopefully that's the result now that will kickstart their season. That was a really good result against the Melbourne Vixens yesterday. So they are my winners from the weekend. My losers. Don't know if you boys saw this in the golf, but John Rahm leading by 6 shots with a round to play at the Memorial Tournament in Ohio, which is wrapping up this morning. That's like leading by 10 or 15 goals.
6 shots.
He on the 18th green yesterday, he's walking off the course. Everyone on him. 15 cameras on him. Crowd. Mr. Rahm, you've tested positive for COVID. You have to withdraw.
Are you joking?
Well,
Fair
that's
to
it.
say.
If he could have got hit by an asteroid, and he wouldn't have had a worse day at that point in time.
Yeah, he did not take it well, and his team are livid that he was told in front of everyone in full view. He basically broke down on the spot. I mean, it's a couple of $1 million that goes begging. The final round's being played out now, but he would be furious. So not his fault, but he's a loser from the weekend, and everyone else that is within
that's brutal.
100 metres of him that's now
The
got
poor
COVID.
bloke. Has he ever won a major?
He hasn't won a major, but he's won plenty of tournaments.
Yeah, right.
And this isn't a major, but it's still a pretty
right.
damn big tournament.
Jeez.
This is a couple of losers. Azerbaijan Grand Prix, that's as chaotic a finish as I've seen for a long time. Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, it's a 2-horse race. Verstappen's leading the race by 5 seconds with a few laps to go, and then this happens.
Look at, and that's Max Verstappen! Max Verstappen on the main straight! Leading this race, now out of this race. Sergio Perez leads from Lewis Hamilton. And the red flag has now come out. The race is now going to stop. Perez on pole, Hamilton alongside him on the front row. Perez gets away well, Hamilton will wheel spin. Sebastian Vettel is coming at them as well. Perez tries to cut off Hamilton, who locks up and goes straight on. Perez leads from Sebastian Vettel, and then comes Pierre Gasly and Charles Leclerc, and Hamilton has gone from second in the race to falling out of the points.
Unbelievable finish. So the guys that are 1-2, first Verstappen just inexplicably locks his car, he's out of the race, and then Hamilton can go to the top of the standings. He completely butchers it as well, so they both just choked.
Oh, wow, that's extraordinary.
So Sergio Perez wins it, Daniel Ricciardo back in 9th. My final losers for this morning, Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, who's a YouTuber.
Yep. He's an idiot.
are having a boxing match in about 3 hours' time. Idiots.
I'm not into banning kids from watching too many things, but Logan Paul videos is on my list.
Yeah.
He's a complete moron, that guy.
And he's getting in the ring today to get some sense knocked out of him, or maybe some sense knocked into
they're
him.
both detestable people, so, I don't think there won't be a real loser on the day, frankly.
That's right.
But that's it, boys.
Did you go to the Crows?
I didn't, but because I was working across the road. But they just should have won that game, shouldn't they?
It was so frustrating.
And there's so many good signs.
Not like the West Coast or Richmond games where you go, I could look back on that game and take a lot out of it. Just all the stuff I take out of Saturday is annoying.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
I think Rennie said it in almost as many words a moment ago. I think good sides win that game.
Yeah.
I think that's where Adelaide's at the moment.
And they're getting there, and I love Riley Thilthorpe. Oh, goodness, he's going to be good.
Yeah.
But they need to learn to win those games.
Yep, absolutely.
Good on you, boys.
Expectations a hell of a thing. Good on you, Rennie.
Yeah, well said.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? I know who. Fleurier Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Windy with showers developing today in 21. With the 6:30 news, I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience. With 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have announced the arrival of their second child, a baby girl. Meghan has given birth to Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor in California, making her the first of the Queen's great-grandchildren to be born outside the UK. The couple has released a statement saying both mother and child are healthy and well. UK correspondent Adam Gilchrist says the name celebrates 2 important women in Harry's life.
The Lilibet, the nickname of the Queen, Diana obviously after Harry's mother, so Meghan's family don't get a look in on the name. And does it sound more royal than Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor?
Pay up or kiss your car goodbye. That's the message ahead of new Hoon driving laws to come into effect from July 1. Police Minister Vincent Tarzia says cars will be crushed if fines aren't settled on time.
Vehicles can be impounded for 28 days for a variety of offences, including dangerous driving, drink and drug driving, driving an unregistered or uninsured vehicle, or without a licence. And the penalties can jump as high as $1,395.50 by day 38.
The COVID vaccine rollout in Victoria is set to get a big shot in the arm, the federal government promising an additional 100,000 Pfizer doses over 3 weeks, while the number of AstraZeneca doses made available to GPs will double. However, Bill Botel, adjunct professor at the University of New South Wales, speaking on 9, is calling for greater transparency around the rollout.
We've got to set targets. The federal government's got to be open and transparent about how many vaccine doses are in the country, on order, and will be delivered around Australia by certain dates.
The May budget is yet to deliver a significant bounce to the federal government, with latest opinion polls recording mixed results. 9's Michael Packey has more.
Support for Labor and the Coalition is locked at 50% each after preferences. This marks an improvement for the Coalition government, which has been lagging the opposition for about 4 months. But the news poll also shows voters aren't as happy with Scott Morrison's leadership, especially as the blame game continues over Victoria's current lockdown. Labor, at both the federal and state level, claim problems with the vaccine rollout and quarantine are partly responsible for the situation. While Mr Morrison retains a healthy lead as preferred Prime Minister, support for opposition leader Anthony Albanese is up.
There are claims today that Qantas has been infiltrated by organised crime gangs. A federal investigation estimates as many as 150 staff may have links to criminal operations. It's understood one of them is a member of the Comancheros and has recruited staff to bring illegal drugs into the country. Australians lost more than $850 million in scams last year, a 34% increase on 2019. Investment scams were the category with the most losses reported, followed by dating and romance scams. The Competition and Consumer Commission says the numbers could be worse, with many people not reporting scams. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who 3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide's players will be training at Alberton this morning as they prepare for Thursday night's blockbuster against Geelong. The Power can jump into the top 4 with a win. The Crows, meantime, will come out of quarantine today after their match on Saturday against Collingwood. Last night, the Bulldogs held off a determined Fremantle to win by 28 points in Perth. Earlier, West Coast had its first win at the SCG since 1999 after beating Carlton by 22 points. Blues coach David Teague says they got off to a good start but couldn't keep it together.
We had too many players that didn't get their job done. We had too many players that didn't execute their role or execute a skill at the right times, and then we got beat in the contest. And you can't win the contest over the whole field with only a couple of guys. We needed more guys to step up and crack in and compete, and West Coast beat us in that area convincingly.
To tennis, Roger Federer has withdrawn from the French Open in order to be fit for Wimbledon. Daniil Medvedev and Stefanos Tsitsipas have booked places in the quarterfinals, but Serena Williams has been beaten. One game to wrap up the A-League regular season with Melbourne Victory and Melbourne City sharing the points in a 1-1 draw. Adelaide United finished in 5th place and will take on Brisbane this Sunday in a knockout final. In some motorsport to finish, Sergio Perez has won the Azerbaijan Grand Prix this morning with Aussie Daniel Ricciardo coming 9th. And Jack Miller has finished 3rd in the Catalan MotoGP, which was won by Miguel Oliveira. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Heading for a top of 21 today, windy with showers developing. Tomorrow showers 13, Wednesday shower or 2 14. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 7, launching something really exciting on 5AA this morning that we'll talk about more in depth after 7:30 today. But essentially we wanted to get a little bit more in touch with our regions and businesses that operate outside of the CBD. And we've got a very special person who's been tasked with the job, our very own Jane Riley, good friend, expert at touring the regions, shall we say. Yeah, she's the great connector between the city and the regions.
Yeah. She's got that ability, though. Like, Jane just walked into any business and people just go, owners, people in the store, everyone goes, hey, there's Jane.
Exactly right. Exactly. Well, our regional spotlight starts with Jane Riley uncovering the hidden gems of South Australia's region, thanks to the major sponsors of what's going to be, I think, really interesting over the course of the next little while. Automasters, they're the best possible help you can get for that regional road trip. Go there and get back safely. Call 1300 Automasters.
Today, we're checking out Automasters regional stores. Carl Miles is their marketing manager and he joins me now. Carl, you cover a huge area of South Australia. Where do you have your country stores?
Yeah, hi Jane. Look, we go from Victor Harbour right up to the Barossa, covering Mount Barker, Murray Bridge in between, as well as of course, the metro sites that hopefully most people are aware of.
Absolutely, and it's important that people know about those regional stores, either because they're locals in the area or travelling through and they need to get something done to their vehicle.
Yeah, we do get a lot, especially Victor Harbour. We get a lot of travellers, and great to see existing customers that might be down there and it's part of their travels.
And they're great stores, they're locally run and employing local people too.
It's great being community-minded, community-involved, and that's what we get feedback from our guys.
It's fantastic. Now, down to the nuts and bolts of what you do, one of the important things you do when you service a vehicle, the safety check, making sure that those things like the brakes and the lights and those basic things that we need to have a safe vehicle are checked as well.
Yeah. So with every Automaster service, we call it a comprehensive safety check and vehicle condition report. So just gives them a full overview of where their car is in its life.
Having been on the road for many years with 5AA and giving out your fuel vouchers back when we used to do that, I always received a lovely warm welcome and usually a nice cup of coffee as well. And Carla, the other thing I want to thank you for is being our major sponsor for our regional spotlight, because it is really important that we get the message out there about all our regional businesses, because some of them have been doing it really tough with COVID and you've jumped on board to support us and to support them as well. So as the major sponsor, we really thank Automasters very much indeed.
Nah, it's great to be involved. We jumped on board with the Kangaroo Island one last year with you guys.
Yep.
And we have to give back as much as we can.
If you want to book in for a service, what's the phone number to ring?
1300 Automasters.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
We'll have more on our regional spotlight a little bit later in the morning. We'll talk more in depth about how it came about, because I think it's an interesting story about the city and the country and how we've all had to work a bit better together over the course of what's been a very challenging business period for all of us here in South Australia. Donald Trump's back in the news, David. You aware of this?
I am. This is one of those images, you see it, and you can't take your eyes off it. You can't get it out of your head. I haven't looked at it yet this morning. I looked at it last night, just as I was getting ready for bed, and I wish I hadn't.
Well, there's the image, and what we've got is Brooklyn on the 5AA Facebook and YouTube live stream. She'll put it up in a moment. That's the talking point. Just before we get to the silliness of it, I actually thought we got a taste of really clever Trump politics again over the weekend, with his capacity just to seize on a moment, say something that's outrageous but entirely in step with, I think, what a lot of people will think. He was speaking to a crowd in North Carolina, called on China to pay $10 trillion in reparations to the US and the rest of the world for its handling of the coronavirus.
I actually think heaps of people would agree with that.
I think this is brilliant. This is classic, excellent Trump politics and a great sense of what people want.
I'd like to hear from our listeners. I reckon a lot of our listeners would say, yep, China, given everything else they're doing to our country at the moment, China should be held financially responsible for what it's done.
He said that nations across the world should cancel their debt to Beijing, and that this is the classic Trump quote. In fact, it might be part of what we've got to play. We'll play a little bit of Trump and have a listen.
The time has come for America and the world to demand reparations and accountability from the Communist Party of China. We should all declare within one unified voice that China must pay. They must pay. The United States should immediately take steps to phase in a firm 100% tariff on all goods made in China. You saw what was happening with our tariffs. In fact, the Democrats were fighting the tariffs. Well, he hasn't taken those tariffs off. He doesn't want to. Billions and billions of dollars, 25% tariffs on China. Billions and billions of dollars is pouring in.
So he goes on to say that all countries should cancel their debt to Beijing and say, well, that's a down payment on your reparations for unleashing coronavirus on the world.
Take that off the bill.
He also had the most great Trumpian quote on Dr. Anthony Fauci, who we've spoken to on the program previously, who, due to a release of a whole host of emails and some questions that's been raised about his credibility at the outset of this entire crisis, including what his view is on masks, which seem to flip-flop all over the place.
Trump, Dr. Fauci's view is.
Yeah, that's right. Trump referred to him as a great promoter. He said he's a nice guy, great promoter, not a great doctor, but a great, but he's a hell of a promoter.
That's high praise coming from Donald Trump.
It is. Now, the thing that's now got tongues wagging, though, is not so much the economics of, or the use of the term reparations and cancelling debt to China. It's the fact that if you watch this video that we've got on our YouTube live stream at the moment, it's clear that Donald Trump's pants are on backwards.
Yeah, he's got his pants on the wrong way around.
I don't know why or how.
How do you do that?
I don't know how that happens.
I can understand wearing like odd socks by mistake.
Yes, I do that all the time.
Or maybe you're getting dressed in a hurry. You put on your navy suit pants and your charcoal jacket.
Everyone's done it.
Never put my pants on backwards.
Well, there's an obvious moment you'd think would become clear that they're not on the right way around. Yeah,
doing up the zip.
But they're on backwards. And I'm yet to hear a good explanation for why that's the case. If you've got one, we'd love to hear it. I hesitate to even put out the number. 822 300 Text us on the Telstra Storm Barker text line 0480 1395. Let's check traffic for the first time this morning. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now at Dave Potter.
Good morning. At Virginia, got a two-car crash there. Carclew Road and Anglevale Road. Police are on the scene. Mount Osmond, the freeway has a lane closed outbound. That's both in the tunnels and above it. Roadworks to look out for today. Windvale, Golden Grove Road from the Grove away to Grenfell Road. Both directions down to 25 k's for a stop-go. And Seaton Trimmer Parade near Tapley's Hill Road. Both directions down to 40 k's. Got a lane closed there as well. Speed cameras, Dirt Highway, Kingsford and 19th Street, Gawler South. Specsavers huge half-year sale is on now for a limited time. Save 50% on selected single pairs from Big Designer brands. Only at Specsavers. Conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
Everywhere you look, there's a sign popping up saying sold by McGain again.
That's right, and as you keep hearing, there are buyers everywhere at the moment, so you can expect plenty of offers on your home as soon as you list.
And right now, McGain have families lined up, waiting for new homes to be listed for sale. So if you are looking to sell, contact the brilliant team at McGain and ask them about their McGain match strategy. It turns out they could already have the perfect buyer for your property.
They do a cracking job, our great friends at McGain. With the largest amount of buyer activity in the past 20 years, it's the perfect time to act to buy a home. And just another reason why everywhere you look, there's a sign popping up saying, you got it, sold by McGain.
Again.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey. Whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia, but Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Barossa and Clare has always been well worth the trip, and even more so with their end of financial year sale on all certified cars. They currently have SA's largest selection of all makes and models, with a balance of factory warranty on selected models and free 3-year Steinborner certified warranty on SUVs and passenger cars. That's massive value at Steinborner Automotive with their end of financial year sale. Hurry, ends June 30. Steinborner Holden, well worth the trip for 37 years. Steinborner.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
12 minutes to 7. Let's check in with SAPOL. Senior Constable Matt Brown's on the line. Morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Matt. So, Matt, 3 Hoon drivers busted street racing in McLaren Vale.
That's right, David. Police will allege about 8:42 p.m. last night, a speed camera was deployed on Main Road at McLaren Vale, and it detected a Holden Commodore wagon, a Mitsubishi Mirage hatchback, and a Holden Commodore sedan travelling at around 135 k's in an 80 zone. Now, the camera operator provided the registrations and vehicle details to other patrols in the area, and all 3 cars were stopped a short time later in Aldinga Beach. Now, there are a few details about the cars that I'll go through, guys, if we have a minute here.
Sure.
It'll be alleged all 3 drivers knew each other. All of them were on their P plates, and all of them had a passenger in each vehicle. Now, all 3 vehicles are defected for serious safety issues. The first one, the Holden Commodore sedan, was driven with the exhaust system removed from the car and a lowered suspension. The Holden Commodore wagon was defected due to bald tyres and a lowered suspension as well. And they've also removed the exhaust system from the Mitsubishi Mirage. And the front passenger seat was attached to the vehicle with a ratchet strap. So basically, a fancy bit of elastic was the only thing preventing you from flying out of the car if it was going to crash.
So with no exhaust, you could have probably just heard these cars from the Aldinga police station.
Yeah, I thought
without even using the speed cameras.
Not that I spent a lot of time at mechanic school, guys, but I'm pretty sure that's a crucial part of your car operating correctly, having exhaust on it.
Yeah, totally.
So a 19-year-old man from Hackham, an 18-year-old man from Aldinga Beach, and a 17-year-old boy from Morford Vale were all reported for aggravated engaging in a street race, driving at excessive speed, and breaching the conditions of their provisional licences. So all cars are impounded for 28 days, and all 3 will be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
And also, Matt, that's the road where there's been 2 fatalities in the last 12 months. Everyone's talking about fixing it up. Unbelievable.
Also, house fire at Waterloo Corner.
That's right. Police and fire crews were called to Tozer Road just before 2 a.m. today by reports of a house fire and found the dwelling fully ablaze. And the occupant wasn't home at the time. There were no reports of any injuries at all, but the fire is being treated as suspicious and investigations are ongoing. So anyone who may have seen suspicious activity in the area is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Good on you, Matt. Thank you. Senior Constable Matt Brown from SOPOL. I think Jenny Horvat's the headliner today. It's going to be a real serious couple of hours weather-wise over the next 48 hours. Jenny Horvat, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. Morning to you.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Will. Yes, so we do have a vigorous cold front approaching the state today. So, yeah, things are going to get interesting during the course of today. We are starting to see our northwesterly winds picking up ahead of that, and we do have a severe weather warning out for damaging winds for pretty much the south of the state, and that does include for people in the Mount Lofty ranges for today. We also do have some marine warnings out with a strong wind warning out for the metropolitan waters for today and tomorrow. So, yes, it is starting to pick up in that northerly winds, and we may even see a little bit of dust haze coming into the city a bit later as well, because it has been still quite dry in our agricultural area as well. But then we'll see this vigorous cold front come through this afternoon, and we'll see those heavy showers developing. So we're looking at that maybe starting to come in mid sort of afternoon, sort of through the southern suburbs first, and then coming across the remainder. So today we're looking at a top temperature of 21 degrees before that change comes through. We had our minimum of 12.8 about 6:30 this morning, and currently sitting on a 13.1 degrees at West Terrace, Naidapira. But we will see those temperatures drop following that cold front, and quite a cold day coming up tomorrow. So showers persisting. We're looking at a top temperature of 13 degrees on Tuesday. Look, maybe the chance of a thunderstorm around on Tuesday and possibly even some small hail. So we've definitely got winter coming through. Still a chance to see a shower or two around on Wednesday, 14 degrees, and then we should start to dry out towards the end of the week, and maybe starting to see a little bit of shower activity coming back on the weekend, but maybe not as vigorous as this cold front coming through. So, yeah, potentially seeing quite a bit of rainfall over the next 48 hours, as you mentioned, and possibly quite a lot up on the Mount Lofty ranges. So, yeah, if you need to do any prepping for some extra rain, it's probably good to get out there this morning.
Good stuff, Jenny.
Good
Thanks
on you,
for
Jenny.
that.
Senior Forecaster Jenny Horvat from the Weather Bureau. There's not too many days in the Adelaide year where if you're going out, take a brolly with you. But from mid-afternoon today through all day tomorrow, I think it's brolly weather.
Yeah, well, we could be getting 30 mil within 2 days.
Yeah.
It's not often you actually get told in Adelaide it's definitely going to rain, and it's going to rain heavily.
That's right. It almost never happens. Yeah.
But, you know, the magic numbers for me, 12:27 p.m. this Friday, Wollonga Golf Course. As long as it's dry then, I'll be happy.
Well, I think you're looking... It's come in early for you.
I think I've got perfectly positioned at the moment.
Getting some Trump pants-related tweets, comments. Telstra Stormount Barker text line. Gavin says, Trump pants on right, head on backwards. That could be one explanation for it. Our Alberton correspondent Dave Lloyd says, the old question, who puts his pants on? Maybe that was the job of the Secret Service.
Maybe that's one of the privileges he lost after the so-called election defeat. Hey, Rob, I'm with you. Rob's texted in about Fauci and this email dump showing his links to the coronavirus and in the laboratory in Wuhan. It's a really interesting story.
Really is.
And it's been dismissed for a long time as the stuff of tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorists. Fauci's actually got quite a bit of explaining to do on a number of fronts at the moment.
There is now enough. There is enough around to conduct a full investigation, to have these questions answered. You're right. They're not popping up on weird internet websites.
Could be quite embarrassing for the US military too.
Absolutely.
Because it sounds like they might have actually been involved in China with the potential development of coronaviruses.
That's right. Absolutely.
Far out.
Mick says he thinks Donald Trump was just paying homage to his favourite rap group, Criss Cross.
And Criss Cross will make you jump.
Paul says, I reckon they're a pair of tracksuit pants made out of suit material for comfort, but it just doesn't look that comfortable. No, maybe that's it. He can get him made out of whatever he wants. It's 5 to 7.
Elevate the everyday in the elegant Renault Koleos SUV. Available from just $32,990 drive away. Contact your local dealer today. Renault Koleos. Life less ordinary.
It's the details in custom sheer curtains by country that make the difference. Like a choice of pleats, including the modern S-Wave, traditional double pleats, reverse pleats, and even pencil pleats. Why settle for less when Country offers lots of options to help create the right look for your home? With a pleat style that's perfect. Custom sheer curtains made best by Country. Now let's make it for you. Visit countryblinds.com.au for a free measuring quote.
How do you know if the milk you're buying is local? Easy. Just look for 3 words. FIVEaa Milk Company. If the bottle you pick up has those 3 words on it, FIVEaa Milk Company, it's guaranteed to be local. It's guaranteed to be fresh too. And the big plus, you're supporting SA dairy farmers, and for that, we're forever grateful. 3 words. FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
If you're 50 and over, like me, you are eligible to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Vaccination is the best way to protect yourself and your loved ones. Book now at your local GP, respiratory clinic, or at one of our new vaccination clinics across Metro and Regional SA. Locations include Wavell Showgrounds, the Women's and Children's Hospital, Noarlunga and Elizabeth, with more clinics opening soon. To book, visit covidvaccine.sa.gov.au.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
3 to 7, time to head off to the US. Ashley Mullaney's in Santa Barbara for 7 News, covering the birth of a new royal. Ashley, good morning to you.
Good morning, team. From elections to royal babies, life comes at you fast.
Sure, right. It sure does. We had
It's
a little
nice
bit
happy change.
We had a little bit of warning about the gender and some other little details on this one. Just for those of our listeners that are waking up, take us through what's transpired for Harry and Meghan over the weekend.
Yes, well, you're right about the gender. They revealed that in the Oprah interview when they came out, essentially slamming the royal family. They said they were expecting a baby girl and it was going to be sometime this week. She actually gave birth on Friday. It's now Sunday here. So they managed to keep it under wraps for a couple of days and made the announcement on their website. I'll read you just part of their statement where they say that she is more than we could have ever imagined, and we remain grateful for the love and prayers we've felt from across the globe. They've named their daughter Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor. Now, Lilibet, unusual name, it's actually the Queen's nickname, and of course Diana is a nod to the late Princess Diana, which is a lovely touch. So the couple are back home now. Meghan gave birth at a hospital about 10 minutes away from their Montecito house. So they're back now, said to be doing well, and the royal family have sent their love and support and congratulations over Twitter. I would hope that there'd perhaps been a phone call too, not just a tweet, but we know that relationship between Harry and William has been fractured of late. So they've sent their warm wishes, but
is she their first child, or they've got another child, haven't they? This is their second child.
Archie. This is their second,
Archie,
yes.
that's
So
right.
they've had Archie. Yeah, he's now 2 years old. But of course, that was such a different time, wasn't it? That was 2 years ago. They were working members of the royal family. They came out. They followed that sort of protocol or expectation to do the royal photo call where they showed Archie off. These are different times. They're really laying low. They kept this under wraps for 2 days. And I think probably the most we could hope for is a photo now. I don't think we would see that same photo call and showing off baby Lily to the press. It's a really different time. But clearly from that name, they're wanting to keep their ties to the royal family. She won't have an HRH title yet, but that could be on the cards down the track when Charles becomes king. So we'll have to wait and see. But there's still definitely a nod to her royal ties with the name.
Good on you, Ashley.
Thanks,
you for
Ashley.
that. Ashley Mullaney in Santa Barbara for 7 News.
Excellent text here on the Telstra Straw Mount Barker text line from Ian in Morfett Vale. Hi, Dave and Will. Even Joe Biden gets his pants on the right way round, but then he says at least Trump wore trousers, unlike Malcolm Fraser, is the positive side of this wardrobe malfunction. Still not a good look. where was it? Memphis, I think, where our former Prime Minister came to grief.
Yes.
Great man, Malcolm Fraser, wasn't he? He became a real lefty in later life, didn't he?
Sure did.
Real thorn in the side of the Howard government.
Yeah.
Whatever you think about the legitimacy or otherwise of his 1975 win, the losing of the trousers in Memphis was a bit of a low point for him.
And for those that think the royal family's been playing the long game on their claims on North America, that things are going to plan, whilst Elizabeth is 8th in line for the throne, if at some point she did become the Queen, she could also run for President of the United States,
American
having been
citizen.
born there. So there is a chance for the reformation of the Commonwealth to some degree. It's 5AA News time. I'm going to talk crushing cars in just a moment.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Windy with showers developing, 21 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
3 cars were detected doing excessive speeds on Main Road at McLaren Vale shortly after 8:30 last night. The trio were doing around 135 k's an hour in an 80 zone. Police caught up with them at Aldinga. Senior Constable Matt Brown says it will be alleged all 3 drivers knew each other.
A 19-year-old man from Hackham, an 18-year-old man from Aldinga Beach and a 17-year-old boy from Morford Vale all reported for aggravated engaging in a street race, driving at excessive speed and breaching the conditions of their provisional licences. So all cars are impounded for 28 days and all 3 will be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
There's been a house fire at Waterloo Corner. It sparked on Tozer Road just before 2 this morning. The occupant was not at home at the time and there were no reports of injuries. The fire is being treated as suspicious. Investigations are continuing. Prince Harry and Meghan have announced the birth of their second child, a girl named Lilibet Diana. The BBC's Sanya Berg has more.
Lilibet has been a family nickname for the Queen since she was a child and couldn't say Elizabeth clearly. So the new baby's names honour the monarch and Prince Harry's mother. She is Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor. Her parents said in a statement that Lily, as she will be known, was more than they could have ever imagined, and they remain grateful for the love and prayers they've felt from across the globe. Both mother and child are well, and according to their press secretary, have now returned home.
Support for the federal government has improved in the latest opinion poll, but the Prime Minister's popularity has dipped. The latest news poll shows the Coalition and Labor locked at 50% after preferences. It's the Coalition's best performance in 4 months, but voters have marked Scott Morrison down as the opposition blames him for problems with the vaccine rollout and quarantine. There's still no indication where the Delta strain of COVID-19, which has popped up in Melbourne, has come from. It's one of 2 variants that first showed up in India that are now active in Australia. While it's said to be more infectious, Professor Sharon Lewin from the Doherty Institute has told Nine the vaccines also offer protection to the Delta variant.
A lot of work's been done on this in the UK, where the Delta variant is the main variant circulating. And after the second dose of both vaccines, there certainly is protection, 80% reduction in infections if you've had 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine and 60% reduction if you've had 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Children on vegan diets are shorter on average than those who eat meat. University College London researchers looked at 187 children, including vegans, vegetarians and omnivores. Those on plant-based diets were 3 centimetres smaller on average, and vegan children were more likely to be B12 deficient. Well, the Mod Squad has lost another member. Clarence Williams III, who played Lincoln Link Hayes on the TV series, has died from colon cancer. He was 81. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Flurio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. No major injury concerns out of the weekend for Adelaide after their 5-point loss to Collingwood. They'll take on St Kilda in Cairns this Saturday night. The Power tackled Geelong at home on Thursday night after both sides had the bye last weekend. And there were 2 games to wrap up round 12 yesterday with the Bulldogs 28-point winners against Fremantle, while West Coast cemented its spot in the top 8 with a 22-point victory over Carlton. To tennis, Roger Federer has withdrawn from the French Open in the fourth round. Nine's Craig Gabriel reports from Paris.
Federer withdrawing from the French is much to do about his physical health. He had a tough win the night before and he needs to protect his knee that underwent 2 surgeries. So he's ready for Wimbledon, which he's been upfront about. So Matteo Berrettini gets a walkover into the quarters. Stefanos Tsitsipas and Daniil Medvedev are through and will play each other in the final 8.
A podium finish for Jack Miller at the Catalan MotoGP, the Aussie finishing in third spot. Remy Gardner continues his great winning form after taking out the Moto2 race. In Formula One's, Sergio Perez has claimed a chaotic Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Max Verstappen crashed while leading with 5 laps to go, and championship rival Lewis Hamilton locked up from the restart to finish back in 15th. Daniel Ricciardo started the day from 13th spot but climbed 4 places to finish 9th. And in some golf to finish, American Colin Morikawa leads the Memorial Tournament in Ohio by 1 shot with 2 holes to play. Patrick Cantlay and Scotty Scheffler are in a tie for second at 12 under, while Adam Scott is the best of the Aussies, 11 shots back. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Good morning. Look out for a 2-car crash this morning at Virginia, Carclew Road and Anglevale Road. Police are on the scene there. Mount Osmond, the freeway has a lane closed outbound. That's both in the tunnels and above it. And roadworks to look out for on the drive-in today. Windvale, Golden Grove Road from the Groveway to Granville Road. Both directions down to 25 k's and a stop-go. And at Clearview today, Grand Junction Road and Hampstead Road. Speeds reduced and lane closures in both directions there. Move into Storage King by June 30 and get $100 worth of boxes and packing materials free. T's and C's apply. Search Storage King, the kings of storage, moving and more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Windy with showers developing, 21 today. Tomorrow showers and 13. Wednesday a shower or 2, 14. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
It's going to be interesting, this conversation with Simon Birmingham. He's the kind of guy, normally when he gets wheeled out by the government, we call him the show's over folks, nothing to see here guy, because he's one of those blokes in politics who, when everyone else around is losing their head, going berserk, you often hear him in the middle of leadership crises coming on. And
it's when he comes into his own. He is the damage control expert.
He is. He's superb at it.
In the federal government.
So 4 cases. Only 4 cases yesterday. And they know exactly where everyone's contracted it. Do you lock the whole state down for 4 people?
If you are Victoria, you do.
I reckon it's turning into an act of state-sponsored vandalism and pig-headedness there.
That's Ashley Mullaney's in Santa Barbara for 7 News, covering the birth of a new royal.
She actually gave birth on Friday. It's now Sunday here. They've named their daughter Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor. Now, Lilibet, unusual name, it's actually the Queen's nickname. And of course, Diana is a nod to the late Princess Diana.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 7, coming up after 7:30 this morning on the program, we'll speak with the Police Minister, Vincent Tarzia, on the crushing of cars. Geez, it feels like we've heard this one before. Let's hope it happens this time.
It's almost become the... it's like prawn prices at Christmas.
It is, isn't it?
The classic lead up to the election story.
They
sound serious, though.
A little bit later in the mornings, the Federal Finance Minister, Simon Birmingham, will join us to talk about the Future Subs project, but also the full cycle docking, which we understand a decision has been made on, and those jobs and that work will happen here in South Australia. If true, it's fantastic news. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, a little bit later as well. Really scary story played out in Seaford yesterday.
Oh, what the f***? Is this gonna hit me? Holy sh**.
A man was charged after he allegedly reversed into a woman's car, drove down the street, turned around, crashed into her head-on during a horrific road rage incident. Here is the woman who was the victim.
Came up next to me, asked me to wind the window down, said, "I'm going to hit you, you're dead." I didn't know what to do, where to go. Reversed into me, drove through the red light, U-turned and rammed me head on at full pelt. I just hope something gets done.
That's Chloe. She was on the phone to her father throughout the incident.
I could hear it in her voice that she was getting more and more frightened. So I jumped in my car, and then I heard her shouting, "He's going to hit me, he's just hit me." And then I thought that was it, and then I heard her screaming, "He's coming at me again." He was using his car as a deadly weapon.
It all played out at the intersection of Tiller Drive and Commercial Road about 10 a.m. on Sunday.
So 10 a.m. in the morning.
10 a.m.
And he's already .151.
Yes, he
three
was.
times over the limit. So presumably he's hammered from the night before.
Yep, 39-year-old Moana man. He then, according to witnesses, tried to leave the scene and drove at members of the public that were standing on the roadside. Big thanks to Channel 9 for the audio of Chloe and the father, and Channel 7 for the witnesses on the street audio there. But
there can be no explanation for this. That guy
No.
should be locked up for a very, very long time.
Yep.
3 counts of acts to endanger life, aggravated due care, and drink driving. The acts to endanger life, there should be no sort of post facto sort of attempt by his defence counsel to say, there was no intention here or anything like that. If you do something like that, just take this cretin out of circulation.
how much worse can it get?
Yeah.
In terms of
Bizarre,
forget the outcome, let's think about like a hit in the AFL for a moment. The action. How much worse can the action be if it's established that what everyone there saw is true? You've deliberately rammed a car. You've driven a vehicle twice. You've driven a vehicle at bystanders. You're exceptionally drunk. What? I don't know what more you could possibly do. Fired a weapon at the same time?
Well, the dad was right, though. I mean, he was, really. I mean, the car,
absolutely, of course
the car was the weapon.
Of course he was.
Just staggering.
Fascinating story, page 3 of the Tiser this morning. That actually makes me rethink a lot about what's happened with regard to our health response to COVID. I just think we're really bad at doing the right thing by our bodies health-wise and listening to experts. This is staggering. New research from the Heart Foundation revealed that more than half of those people who had a heart attack last year delayed seeking urgent help for fear of catching COVID or putting stress on the health system. People who had a heart attack, half of them went, could get COVID. Could get COVID! You had a heart attack!
Yeah.
The latest biennial survey of more than 400 Australian heart attack survivors found 1 in 4 waited for more than an hour after a heart attack before doing anything. There's a real...
It's understandable, though, particularly last year, less so now.
Oh, sure.
But at the time, people think, maybe it's nothing. I don't want to put any pressure on the health system.
I just think it's... we evaluated this whole response to the vaccines and our ability to digest data and look at the potential chance of a side effect v catching it. I just think we're bad at this, generally, when it comes to our bodies. I think our natural reaction is, we'll be right. She'll be right. Was it a heart attack or did I put my back out? Is it indigestion? We err on the side of it'll be all right.
Yeah, we do.
And I think it's actually in a public health way. It's less nasty than it's been made out to be. That's what this heart attack story tells me. We're just programmed to think like this at all times about our health.
It's funny, you still think about the level of concern in the community about vaccination. SA Health has released some really interesting data. So far, there's been 306,000 people who've had the vaccination. Of them, just 1,600 out of 306,000, so a third of a million people have had the shots. 1,600 have had any adverse effects. And of those, the adverse effects, 80% of the 1,600 have had headaches, a sore arm, dizziness. I mean, I've got one of them at any given time of the day. The other thing too, of the 1,600, I thought it was telling, most of them had a day off work. I sort of wonder whether it's a bit of a, okay.
What do they call that? Oversampling in statistics, do you think? They might not, a couple of false positives in there.
Get the old AstraZeneca on Thursday. And then just let it carry me through into the long weekend. I've got my own private Easter coming up here.
See, what you're suggesting...
I don't know, I just want to err on the side of caution.
So in 2 weeks' time, we're going to see a lot of adverse reactions, do you think?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
don't mind that theory at all. The weather, big story today as well. We're calling it one of 2 brolly days, today and tomorrow. The way into work, if you're catching public transport or having to commute from the car to your office or wherever you're going throughout the day to the shops or whatever you do, you'll be okay in the morning. Mid-afternoon, it's going to get wet, potentially up to 35 mils from that point on through to the next day. So make sure you've got something to keep you dry. There's not many of these days that play out in Adelaide.
No.
But it's going to be seriously, seriously wet. Potential thunderstorm and hail tomorrow as well. 15 after 7. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now. That's Dave Potter.
Look out for a two-car smash this morning at Seaford and Commercial Roads. Another collision at Virginia. 2 cars involved with that. Carclew Road and Anglevale Road. Police on the scene. Mount Osmond, the freeway has a lane closed outbound. That's both in the tunnels and above it. And look out for roadworks today at Parafield Main North Road, Kings McIntyre Road intersection speeds down to 40. And at Clearview, Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road, speeds reduced and lane closures both directions there as well. When your life changes, your insurance should too. UE, you insured. Consider the car and home PDS at ue.com.au when deciding if this product is right for you. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
It's like our love of cycling and our disdain for cyclists. Or a free slice of Fritz for the kids from the butcher.
Thank you.
From Williamstown to Edwardstown, with a stop off at Café de Villiers for a pie. The things that make our state great. It's who we are as SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing, and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Careers. Don't send it, ace it.
Older people have rights to make their own decisions, to be safe and to be treated with dignity and respect. But right now in Australia, 1 in 20 older people are experiencing some form of abuse. Fear, sadness and neglect can be signs of elder abuse. For free confidential advice or to make a report, call 1800 372 310. To find out more, search SA Health Stop Elder Abuse. Spot the signs, speak up and help stop elder abuse. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Now, David, we make no secret about the fact that we are great supporters of local businesses.
Why would we? Nothing to be ashamed of here.
No, absolutely.
No.
It's our raison d'etre.
It is.
One of those is Rundle Blinds and Curtains in Kings Park. Family owned and operated and really big on service.
Oh, they have. I love this business. I've been in there several times. Now, you can trust Rundle Blinds and Curtains to deliver awesome results when it comes to your blinds, awnings, shutters and curtains. And look, they are the best in the business and they've got the silverware to prove it. Rundle Blinds and Curtains, they were recently awarded the Luxaflex Gallery of the Year. They've now won it 5 times, if you don't mind.
What did Malcolm Byte say about going back to back? You win 1, you're a great side. You win 2 and you're freaks. I don't know what he'd say about winning 5 times.
No, that's right.
Probably couldn't say it on air.
Yeah, exactly.
Ian, Sam and the entire team will take care of you to ensure you get the perfect results to suit your home and lifestyle. So for anything blinds, awnings, shutters and curtains, get in touch with a wonderful team at Rundle Blinds and Curtains.
The showroom is worth just going in there to check it out. It's fantastic. It's at 305 Goodwood Road, Kings Park, or go online at rundleblinds.com.au.
Good leaders always look to support local, and they stay local. Like Leader Computers, Australia's largest Australian-owned PC manufacturer, based right here in South Australia. Having a world-class manufacturer of computers is a big win for our state, providing jobs and local support you simply can't get from overseas companies. Looking for the latest Intel and Microsoft-based computers at great pricing with the huge benefit of local support? Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
Elevate the everyday in the elegant Renault Koleos SUV. Available from just $32,990 drive away. Contact your local dealer today. Renault Koleos. Life less ordinary.
9 News. Weeknights at 5. Nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News. Made in Adelaide.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
19 minutes after 7, Stephen Rowe shortly to wrap the weekend in sport. The Smith family are aiming to raise some $5.1 million by the end of this month, 30th of June, to deliver life-changing learning and mentoring educational support programs to student in need. It's their 2021 winter appeal, and Graham Jeske, the General Manager of the Smith family, joins us now. Graham, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners.
Graham, one of the big things, I guess, affecting students over the last 12 months has been the emergence of the sort of digital haves and have-nots, where even though we only had a hard lockdown here briefly in SA, a lot of schools still move to things like online learning. So much learning these days, be it during a pandemic or otherwise, is done online. How is that affecting a lot of the families that rely on the help of the Smith family?
It was a big impact for our families. Some only have one device, and there might be 4 children. We have learning clubs, and we find a lot of our students come to our learning clubs to access the Wi-Fi at the learning clubs. And, I had a tertiary student only last week talking to me how important it was that we were able to get her a SIM card through a partnership we have with Optus with Donate Your Data, just so she can hotspot her laptop on a public transport so that she can get some work done before she even gets to uni. So it's a big issue, and it's something we have been planning and working with our families, but it's not the only issue that affected our families during COVID, and we did a snapshot, a 6-monthly snapshot, and we found that a lot of our families were affected by that economic uncertainty, and they're still being affected even today.
Has the economic uncertainty sort of been matched or possibly even eclipsed by what's going on in the property market? Because we're hearing all the time about people who can't get rental properties. Certainly there's a hell of a lot of people out there who can't afford to scrape a deposit together for a house, given the way house prices have surged. Has that become an issue as well?
Yeah, housing affordability can affect our families because they may have to move accommodation, and if they do that, they may have to change schools. And a lot of our families change schools a lot, and that does affect their education. And we did have a family in regional Australia where one of our team members actually reported that they had 15 families living out of a car. And so you can imagine the issues for that kid's education, not just the digital issues around it was pretty hard to get internet in a car, but just that sort of instability. And it was amazing those kids were still attending school, but you can see that it's going to have a huge impact on their lives.
The out-of-home mentoring program that you do, Graham, does it go right through from reception to year 12, or are there specific areas where educational outcomes are really vulnerable that you target?
Transitions, but there's particular issues. So, as I said, this tertiary student, she's now doing law, but she was behind in her reading. So we got her a reading buddy, and she's developed a love of reading. So that was at primary school level.
Yep.
She's using that skill now. The learning clubs are through primary schools and secondary. And we're working in the secondary space now to do more career chats, because we know if we have more career chats to our students, they're more likely to want to finish year 12 or go into a trade or get that skill they need for these jobs that are out there, but you really need an education and skills to actually take those jobs up.
Well, to find out more about the Smith family's learning and mentoring programs, and also specifically how you can support its winter appeal, just go to www.thesmithfamily.com.au/winter. In fact, just type the word Smith Family into Google, follow the links, it'll get you there. Graham, always great to catch up. It's a very important organisation, the Smith family, and we urge all of our listeners who are in a position to do so to do their bit to help you out. Thanks for joining us this morning, mate.
We've set a bigger target because we're helping even more kids this year than ever before.
Fantastic work. Good on you, Graham.
Cheers,
Graham
Graham.
Jeske, the General Manager of the Smith family.
One of my favourite quotes, words of the poor child's arsenal. Mark Twain said that. Words of the poor child's arsenal. It's what claws you out of poverty.
Yeah.
Good quote.
Yeah. Well, we talked so much about generational poverty, and you just, everything you talked about, where people can live, house prices, rent, then maybe you move further away, you work further away, you spend more on transit, and your parents away from kids for long. All this kind of stuff, multipliers effect that make that child have less of a chance of breaking the cycle.
But invariably, one of the most telling indicators when you look at the families where it's like intergenerational welfare dependency, and often like I'm guilty of it myself sometimes, saying why don't these people just get off the couch? Well, if you've been taught that you don't need to, the only way you're going to break that cycle, the key way you're going to break that cycle, is to be the person who picks up a book and then picks up another book and then picks up another book.
That's a great point. Let's talk sport. Stephen Rowe joins us thanks to the wonderful people at North Point. The all-new Kluger Hybrid has arrived at North Point Toyota. You can book your test drive. It is the North Point way. Morning, Rowie.
Pembo and Will, good morning. Terrific charity, that one. Hey, another disappointing loss to the Crows. We know that. Again, it's about execution. Should never have lost that match. More inside 50s, clearances, scores, contested ball. Tex kicks 2-6. The other end, Elliott, 6 straight. I'm telling you, that'll never, ever happen again. So what's that? We lost to Pies by 5, Hawks by 3. Should have beat Freo. So the good thing for me, Crows are building, they're improving, they're far better than last year, and you know what? The polishing class will come.
Robbie, listening to the callers on your show, driving home after the game, which is just in passing, one of the great football traditions. I love that. Hearing the extent to which people are just tearing their hair out, going berserk, shooting their mouths off. But so many listeners nailed it. We just got to get better at kicking. Like the number of turnovers on half-back, we were kicking the ball straight down the throat of a Collingwood player. Yep. That first quarter was just real tear your hair out stuff, particularly for Matty Nicks.
Better. Yeah, they'll get better. They're far better than last year, and that's the improvement they wanted to see. Just on this, look, I know Crows did wrong, no excuses. Everyone's done this to death, but disappointing to cop a $50,000 fine that comes off the soft cap when 5 other clubs have also breached COVID rules. We've all seen the photos. Now, I just hope the AFL today fines those clubs retrospectively or withdraws the Crows fine. And the sad sap that dobbed them in, hope they feel great about themselves, because I've spoken to the club. It could cost someone their job. I mean, honestly,
why does it come out of the soft cap? Why does it have to?
There you go.
They want to make it a painful punishment.
Richmond's didn't.
But all it means is it's borne by an individual as opposed to the club would bear a big fine. The club bears the fine if it's $50,000. If you make it off the soft cap, an individual bears the fine.
I know the club has been inundated with people sending JPEGs, photographs of other players from other clubs doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
everyone does it. Yeah,
it's ludicrous.
It's ludicrous.
I reckon part of the problem, as South Australians, it's not like Victoria where the moment you leave your house, you're just hardwired. You know, if you live in Warrnambool, Melbourne or Mildura, you just know you put the mask on. Now, at the Oval on the weekend, I got up to go to the loo at one point and I was in one of the functions and I thought, oh, hang on, I've got to get my mask, went back to my seat. Like, it's not second nature for South Australians. So I don't think there's anything sinister to what they did.
No.
The other thing that's weird, the person who took the photo sent it to the club on Tuesday and then apparently was like having all these conversations back and forth about, you know, what are you going to do about it? I don't know. It's
brought out some sad people. This
culture of dobbing. It's just pathetic.
Yeah.
Isn't it? If I saw Travis Boak and a whole bunch of Port players on a plane not wearing their masks for a few minutes, the last thing I would think of doing is take a photo of them. Pathetic.
Yeah, they're sad saps. Hey, all eyes on SA Health today before we go. Will they allow Geelong a fly-in, fly-out Thursday or stay overnight? Otherwise, the AFL will need to reschedule that. SA Health cost our state the MND match Monday. A lot of people may be happy with that. New South Wales were just far easier to deal with. So big day for SA Health. We'll speak about that. Bix will join us, Cornsey, Crows and Port. Hey, see you at 4.
Good on you, Rowie. The all-new Kluger Hybrid has arrived at North Point Toyota. Book your test drive. It is the North Point way.
The new Nissan Navara has landed. It's got a 3.5-tonne brake towing capacity, 1-tonne payload and an intelligent off-road around view monitor. Head to your Nissan dealer for a test drive. T's and C's apply.
Hi there, I'm Matt, a Specsavers optometrist. Did you know that every Specsavers is locally owned and operated by an optometrist just like me? We believe eye tests should reveal more, not cost more, which is why we include an OCT advanced 3D eye scan with every eye test at no extra charge. Does your optometrist? Experience the Specsavers difference and book your eye test today. We're here to look after your eye health and keep you safe in store. Visit specsavers.com.au.
It's incredible. Over 75% of tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery have already been sold. Don't miss your chance to live the dream in this fully furnished Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade at South Brighton that comes with $1 million cash. There are over 15,000 incredible prizes to win, including luxury vehicles, local getaways and so much more. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au and join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care. Licence M13989.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
What?
Ugh, rodents in your attic or walls? Well, if you're not keen on having unwanted tenants in your home, at Murray's we've been dealing with rats, mice and other uninvited vermin for over 60 years. So call now or book online for 25% off rodent control. murraypestcontrol.com.au.
No worries with the team from Murray's.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Windy with showers developing, 21 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience. With 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
3 drivers have been busted over an alleged street race south of the city. 3 cars were clocked doing in excess of 130 k's an hour on Main Road at McLaren Vale just after 8:30 last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says police caught up with the trio, aged 17, 18 and 19, at Aldinga Beach.
It will be alleged all 3 drivers knew each other. All of them were on their P plates and all of them had a passenger in each vehicle. Now all 3 vehicles are defected for serious safety issues.
The state government is cracking down further on hoon drivers. Impounded vehicles will be crushed or sold for scrap metal if they fail to pay a release fee in full within 38 days. Police Minister Vincent Tarsier says the message is clear.
Cough up the cash or kiss your car or your motorcycle goodbye. One way or another, hoon drivers will pay for their irresponsible road behaviour. So impound penalties are changing and our government makes no apologies. These severe penalties come into effect from July the 1st.
Buckingham Palace, Boris Johnson and Ellen DeGeneres have sent the Duke and Duchess of Sussex congratulations on the birth of their second child. Harry and Meghan have announced Lilibet Diana, who'll be known as Lily, was born on Friday in Santa Barbara. Support for the major political parties is neck and neck, but the Prime Minister's popularity has taken a hit in the latest news poll. Nine's Michael Packey has more.
For the first time in 4 months, both the Coalition and Labor hold 50% support after preferences. It's another sign the next federal election will not be a shoo-in for the Morrison government. The news poll reveals Scott Morrison retains a healthy lead as preferred Prime Minister over opposition leader Anthony Albanese, but his popularity is down on the previous survey, as the federal government is forced to sheet home some of the blame for the latest lockdown in Victoria. Mr Morrison has moved to address issues with the vaccine rollout and quarantine.
The aged care COVID cluster at a Victorian facility continues to grow. 2 new cases were confirmed late yesterday. One is a 79-year-old resident. The second is a registered nurse. The positive cases will go into today's figures. Crime agencies believe as many as 150 Qantas staff are linked to criminality. The Age is reporting a classified federal law enforcement intelligence operation has revealed bikies and other organised crime groups have infiltrated Australia's national carrier. Investigative reporter Nick McKenzie says among the most concerning of these suspected trusted insiders within Qantas is a Comanchero motorcycle gang affiliate linked to an international drug cartel boss.
And the intelligence about him that's been gathered over the years is that he has been using his position in Qantas to place people at Qantas who are helping with the importation of narcotics. So, yeah, it's a pretty serious set of allegations around this Qantas employee.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers: Fluorio, milk, Company in your supermarket now.
And it's back to work at Alberton, Tom Wren.
It certainly is, and Port Adelaide is set to ramp things up as they get ready for Thursday night's blockbuster against Geelong. Mel Fremantle, meantime, has been left decimated by injury following yesterday's 28-point loss to the Bulldogs. Captain Nat Five suffering a serious shoulder injury. Coach Justin Longmuir concerned about the dual Brownlow medalist.
Dislocated his shoulder, so we'll have to get a scan and see how bad it is. I can't put a time frame or anything like that on it yet.
Brennan Cox and Sean Darcy injured their hamstrings. Griffin Logue suffered concussion, while Mitch Croden is nursing a sore shoulder. In yesterday's other match, Liam Ryan's 4 goals helped secure the Eagles a crucial 22-point road win at the SCG against Carlton. Plenty of big scalps have bowed out in the 4th round of the French Open. Roger Federer has withdrawn to ensure he's fit for Wimbledon. Serena Williams' quest for a 24th major has once again been thwarted, upset by Kazakhstan's Elena Rybakina. Williams says she hasn't had a lot of luck this year on clay.
Just literally trying to win a match because it had been a really difficult season for me on the clay.
Huge drama at the Memorial Tournament in Ohio in the final round with a short rain delay halting play. It's just resumed and American Patrick Cantlay has sent the crowd wild, drawing level with countryman Colin Morikawa thanks to a massive birdie on the 17th.
And he's buried it. And the 2019 champion, Patrick Cantlay, from 24 feet at the 71st hole.
Audio thanks to Fox there. The players are on 13 under each. They're now walking down the 18th hole. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Look out for a 2-car collision at Seaford, the corner of Seaford and Commercial Road, causing a few delays. Also, Mount Osmond on the freeway, up truck got a lane closed in the tunnels, and as you come out of the tunnels, that does slow things down on the drive out. And also look out for some slow traffic this morning. Salisbury East, the main North Road, Kings McIntyre Road intersection. Speeds down to 40 and does get slow on the drive in. Queensland's balmy winters are good to go. Book 5 nights on the Gold Coast from just $599 at myqueensland.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
21 for your Monday, windy with showers developing. Tomorrow showers 13, Wednesday a shower or two 14. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 8. If your car is impounded, the way it currently works is like this. You've got to pay a $1,135.50 release fee after the 28-day confiscation period ends. If you want an extra 10 days, the cost goes up about $200. If you don't pay it, SAPOL can just crunch your vehicle. And guess what? You've got to pay for that as well, which I think is actually a nice way to round out the whole process, frankly. Is it actually happening? No policemen and Vincent Tarzia joins us. Minister, good morning to you.
Morning, Will. Morning, Dave. Morning to your listeners.
Long before you even entered politics, you're probably still at school at the time. You're such a young chap, Minister. Mike Rann used to go on about crushing cars. Did it ever happen?
He did, yeah, absolutely. From time to time, we've seen cars crushed. In fact, I've seen a couple crushed only this year, so it certainly happens. But look, thanks for having me on your show this morning. Basically, what's happening is that the impound penalties are changing, and look, the government's making no apologies from 1 July, severe penalties are coming into place. So obviously, like you pointed out, vehicles can be impounded for 28 days for a whole range of reasons, like dangerous driving, drink and drug driving, driving an unregistered vehicle or without a licence. And as you said, 1135 after the 28-day confiscation period. Believe it or not, after that, another 10-day period applies, and the penalty raises to $13.95, no coincidence, by day 38. Payments have to be made in full at that stage, and if not, SAPOL can dispose of the vehicle through sale or also scrapping as well.
So when you say no coincidence, did you actually make that the fine because you wanted to correspond with 5AA's call sign? And what does it say about our listeners?
I did see it was a coincidence there.
So it sounds so the thing that's changed from July 1,
yes.
Previously you could enter a payment plan. And what would that mean? So you could pay, what, off $10 off a week for the next,
Correct.
3 years or something?
Previously, so fees obviously set by the courts. Payment plans would have been available, not uncommon for these vehicles to sit here for an extended period of time. If a forfeiture order or a scrapping order wanted to be made, then you'd have to apply through the court. So this new system gives SAPOL the ability to dispose of the cars or the motorbikes quickly and efficiently. So it's a tough new measure. Payments have to be made in full, and if payments can't be made, then SAPOL can dispose of the vehicle through sale or scrapping.
Minister, one of our listeners, Rob, has texted in on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line just asking, I get why the government wants to crush cars, but with the amount of unpaid fines out there, wouldn't auctioning the cars off for revenue be a better option?
Well, that's a valid point by Rob, but of course it's never about revenue raising. We would say it's always about road safety. We mean that. For some people, take overnight, police will allege that 3 people were involved in some extensive speeding last night in McLarenville. You're talking guys doing over 130 allegedly in an 80 zone. I mean, this is just absolutely idiotic behaviour. So what this does, it gives SAPOL another tool in the toolbox. These people have got to cough up the cash, or they can kiss their vehicle goodbye.
Do you reckon we need a police station in McLarenville? One of the listeners is another really good text saying the town no longer has a police station. It's patrolled by Aldinga or Christie's police. Most Fridays, Saturdays, Sunday nights we hear cars doing burnouts, engines screaming, mainly in back blocks near Maxwell Wines. Then you can hear the cars scream out of town again. Cars are long gone before SAPOL can investigate. Before too long, some poor bastard is going to get cleaned up by these idiots. I mean, Aldinga to McLarenville is a reasonably long drive when something like this is happening. I mean, it's close, but it's a long way away if you've got hoons on the loose in McLarenville. McLarenville's grown a hell of a lot. Does it need its own cop shop there?
Happy to raise that matter with the police commissioner. Look, one thing I would say is that obviously since coming into government, we've invested in Crime Stoppers, first time ever directly by a government. Make sure people do report it to 131 444. There's also the app online where people can register their alleged hoon incident. So please do keep the feedback coming in terms of where stations are at a point in time that is somewhat operational, but happy to take that up with the police commissioner and police officers that are responsible in that area.
Good stuff. Vincent Tarzia, Police Minister, thanks for joining us this morning on 5AA.
Thanks, guys.
Apparently, according to Lee Odenwalder, the opposition police guy, the previous government crushed almost 2,000 cars between 2011 and 17. I still reckon you're selling them all.
Yeah. I wonder if...
Lacks the theatrics.
Well, I wonder what proportion of them are sellable.
Well, one of the cars this morning on Main Road, McLarenville, as Matt Brown told us at 6:45 from SAPOL, the passenger seat was held on with a tie-down strap.
Like an Ocky strap?
Yeah. Like one of those things you use for putting a kayak on the roof of your car.
Gee. You know what the police minister did inadvertently hit on that I think could be a bit of a fun conversation, and it could have a $100 Woolworths gift card attached to it. The $13.95 fine, the FIVEaa fine, what kind of... If we were to come up with something that offended the sensibility of the FIVEaa audience that deserved to get a $1,395 fine, what would it be? What's the FIVEaa fine? Can we come up with something? He seems open to it. That's all I'm saying.
I like the idea.
What's the FIVEaa fine?
Well, this could be like mob rule, where
why not
do it on the basis of this is what FIVEaa listeners have come up with the sentence they'd like to see here.
That's right. We're working back from the sentence, which is not typically how laws are made.
I hope he's on a Chris Caracas. Chief Justice isn't listening. Probably not his cup of tea, but I sense a groundswell for this.
I think there's something. We just need what's the crime? We know what the punishment is. It's $1,395. What's the crime? We'll call it the FIVEaa fine. 82230000. Take it wherever you like. You can text us too on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line 044808 1395. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive driven vehicles right now at Dave Potter.
At Seaford, look out for a two-car smash there, Seaford Road and Commercial Road. Mount Osmond, the freeway up track. Got a lane closed there that's in the tunnel and above it. Getting busy for the drive-in seat and Tapley's Hill Road near Trimmer Parade to Grange Road is heading towards the airport. And look out for roadworks today, Clearview, Grange Junction Road near Hampstead Road. Speeds reduced and lane closed in both directions. Winter is here and with it the cold and wet weather. An UltraTune logbook service will ensure your car is safe in any condition. Search UltraTune to find a service centre near you. Adelaide's most accurate Acura traffic on 5AA.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. The weather may be cooling down, but Adelaide property prices are hot. If you've been thinking of selling your home, now is the time. But it's not as simple as listing your house and watching the dollars flow in. A knowledgeable, hard-working agent can have a huge impact on the end result. The wrong one can literally cost you thousands. If you're thinking of selling and want to work with Australia's most awarded real estate agency, call Toop and Toop on 8362 8888 or go to toop.com.au.
The all-new Isuzu MU-X is coming. Exquisite styling inside and out. Enhanced off-road capability, exhilarating tech and exceptional safety. This changes everything. It's time to expand your horizons on what you thought a 7-seat SUV should be. The all-new Isuzu MU-X. Register now. Search all-new MU-X.
Winter's here and the cooler weather is perfect for spending time at home decluttering. Well, I suspect over the next 24 hours you might not have much choice to do anything else once the rain starts coming down this afternoon.
You could have taken all sorts of things to St Vinnings by Wednesday.
Exactly right. But what do you do with those pre-loved treasures that you don't want or need anymore, David?
Well, I just alluded to it. The answer is simple, Will. You take them to the Compassion Converters. I like that line. Your local Vinnie shop. And that way, profits from the sale of your pre-loved items can provide a hand up to people doing it tough in our community.
Think homewares such as vases, dinner sets, glassware, cushions and throws, as well as clothing, shoes, accessories. Next time you're deciding whether to let something go, you can do so knowing that your donation to Vinnie's is making a real difference.
That's right. It makes re-gifting a much less guilt-free or much more guilt-free practice. Now, more than ever, Vinnie's need your help. Find out where to donate at vinnies.org.au/shops.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
14 to 8, some suggestions are coming through for the 5AA fine. We've got the penalty, it's $1,395. We just need the fine. Tim in North Haven's got an idea. Morning to you, Tim.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we?
Good, thanks, Tim.
Right, so I was reading a tweet over the weekend. A gentleman who lives in Brooklyn, New York. He's an Australian expat. Apparently he was peering out of his window, and as if Melbourne are trying to keep it, Melbourne Footy Club supporters keeping it under the lid, I suppose, with their excitement. He was dressed in his full kit, running around the streets of Brooklyn, apparently on Sunday morning.
I saw this.
Yeah. So, you see it on TV occasionally, grown adults, generally the adults that probably shouldn't be wearing any cut-off tops whatsoever, wearing full kits in the crowd. To me, that deserves a fine and probably some sort of arrest.
I think that's excellent, Tim. That's the 5AA fine for adults wearing ill-fitting sports gear at events.
If you're going to wear one, go the long sleeve.
Yeah, or just long. Just buy it. If you don't think it's big enough, still buy 2 sizes bigger than you expect. I think that's a general, that works. Scott in Modbury says, boys, Pembo singing on air. That would be the 5AA fine.
Hey, listen, I wasn't singing on air. I was fitted up by our producer, Andy, who had damning audio of me from the Christmas party 2 years ago.
Take it to the court.
Wasn't my idea.
Sue in Semaphore Park says, guys, I love Graham Corns, but he should get the fine for trying to sing. There's a bit of a theme coming through here.
Jane's contractually prevented from singing. Jane Riley.
She was on her last... She was on her last warning.
I hope she hasn't been singing on her regional tour of South Australia.
Well, we'll find out in a moment. Ryan at Woodville West says, for the fine, people who stop and get out of the car in the drive-through lane at the Bottle-O, the 5AA fine. That's a great idea.
That is a good one.
Andrea, you're going to hate this, David. She says, making coffee using international roast, big fine.
Nothing wrong with international roast.
You are the foremost advocate of international roast.
Drinking it now.
On this blue earth. Mike says, when your neighbour plays doof music for 7 hours to the point where you find your head is nodding in time to it. Definitely a $13.95 fine. Thank you, Mike.
Good stuff.
We'll give away a $100 Waller's gift card. Currently, Tim is in the box seat.
He is.
8223 0000. We've got the penalty. We just need the crime. Keep your calls coming in. Pretty sure that's how laws are made.
That is the way the court should operate.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we should do? Give away 20-year sentences. What for?
What do you got?
Brainstorm.
That's right.
Just throw something at the wall.
Fill in the gap.
Now, well, we mentioned a little bit earlier, and this is really exciting, and this is something that one of the good things that came out of COVID. Something we realised here at 5AA, we love promoting local businesses. We talk about it all the time. We're a local business, and it's one of the great joys is meeting and talking to South Australians who run businesses and the families that are often involved and have the pride they take in making and doing things here in South Australia. But we admit we've been a little city-centric. We've got a lot of listeners that are well beyond even the realm of the broadcast signal these days, thanks to listening online and watching on the Facebook and YouTube live stream. So what we did is send out all of our people that work here in sales and areas and said, go out into the country. Meet businesses that we would never otherwise talk to.
You know, the really good thing when we were at Jarman's the other day, talking to the reps about doing it, they had the time of their lives.
Absolutely. Well, it was great. And they came back and made all these wonderful new connections. And it gives us an opportunity to shine the light a little bit further than we have previously with our regional spotlight. Big thanks to Automasters for being behind it. And Jane Riley on board to be part of the action. And good news for you too, folks. We've got giveaways for every single day where we shine the spotlight somewhere as well. Today it's Auchendarrick House for functions, weddings and events in the Adelaide Hills. Choose the heritage-listed Auchendarrick House, Mount Barker. We'll give away that $200 voucher for the Oak and Iron Tavern to the fifth caller through on 8223 0055. But here's Jane Riley out the road with our regional spotlight.
Today we're heading to Mount Barker in the beautiful Adelaide Hills, home of the heritage-listed Auchendarrick House. I'm catching up with Deanna Wallace. Deanna, it sounds like a beautiful place to visit, and you're famous for your functions, especially weddings.
Yes, we sure are. We have well-renowned chef Andrew Norris, who heads our kitchen and our venue, and we absolutely love putting together beautiful wedding functions, whether it be for anniversaries or birthdays and corporate functions. We do it all.
It's such a beautiful building. Do you know the history of it?
Yes, it was built in the 1800s and it was first the Oakfield Hotel.
And now it's this wonderful function centre. You do weddings. It's got a beautiful garden that you can actually take a tour of. And, of course, right next door, you've got the Wallace Cinemas.
Yes, Auchendarrick House really does have it all, from the gardens, as you mentioned, which are also heritage listed, 6 function rooms, joining onto it is Oak and Iron Tavern, which can seat up to 200 people, and then the cinemas next door. So it's a one-stop shop. You can have lunch and dinner before or after the film.
Tell me about the Oak and Iron Tavern.
A beautiful place, especially in winter, where we have 2 gorgeous fireplaces within the tavern itself. We have your classic snitties and your bangers and mash and your steaks, seafood.
Deanna, if people want to book in to talk to you about planning a wedding or a function, or just maybe coming for a schnitzel and chips, how do they go about doing it?
You can contact us on our website, auchendarrick.com.au, and you'll be able to talk to our chef and our venue manager, Andrew Norris, or our functions manager, Michelle Berry.
Deanna Wallace, thank you so much for sharing your enthusiasm for a beautiful place in our lovely Adelaide Hills. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And good to hear Jane Riley as well. We'll be having more of those over the course of the coming days, and opportunities for you to win and get out and experience the things we got to do here at 5AA as well. All right, let's talk weather, because weather is the biggest story in town today and tomorrow. Amelia Mulcahy for 7 News joins us. Morning, Amelia.
Oh, good morning, guys. We've got a tall order for weather over the next couple of days. Walk outside right now, it's about 13 degrees. That's the warmest will be tomorrow once this cold front that we're expecting to hit today will roll through. So beforehand, it actually looks quite nice outside. You know, a bit of a sunny morning, a bit warm too. But we are expecting winds to pick up. We've seen winds to about 85 k's an hour about Cape Willoughby already, 69 at Mount Lofty. That could whip up dust as well about those northern parts where we tend to see dust typically. And because of that, we do have a severe weather warning for gusts from 90 to 100 k's an hour. Basically about southern parts of the state. So it doesn't include Adelaide, but it does include the Mount Lofty Ranges, the Barossa, Port Lincoln, Murray Bridge, southeast, as always tends to get hit by these sort of systems the worst. We're expecting, a warm day at first, but showers are likely. With that front, I'm going to say around peak hour, sort of around school pickup time to around peak hour. That's when we're expecting a band of showers to develop and roll through the city. They'll be heavy at times. That's the expectation, and we could see a bit of storm activity, maybe about southern parts, and continuing into tomorrow when we could see hail as well. Those showers are set to continue. So, over the next 4 days or so, 25 to 60 millimetres is possible over the southern Mount Lofty ranges, 10 to 25 probably over the metro area. But really, today the recipe is warm and windy at first with showers due later, and tomorrow showers, cold, winter. That's the kind of day. Get your winter woolies out.
There's that sound.
Yeah.
You guys know what that means.
Yeah,
you guys know what that means.
We've got it isolated, but you whip it out at every appropriate moment, so we don't need to hit the button.
Only use it when it's appropriate.
Yeah.
Deserves it tomorrow. What is it? 13 maximum.
Yeah.
Freezing.
Yikes. Good on you, Millie.
Yeah, and it'll just have those cold winds with that bite. So going back to my favourite apparent temperature discussion point, you'll really feel cold. So I cannot stress this enough. Get those winter woolies out.
Good stuff.
Good on you, Millie.
Thanks, Amelia.
See you guys.
Millie Mulcahy from 7 News. Getting some more FIVEaa fine suggestions coming through. I like this one. Someone says a cyclist riding 3 abreast through the Adelaide Hills doing 12 k's an hour, refusing to pull over, $1,395 fine.
Yep.
Zach says FIVEaa fine, wearing your pants backwards.
Now, you were saying off air, Will, Snopes.
Yeah, the Mythbuster people.
Yeah, they've devoted. Imagine the poor person had to do this. They zoomed in, did all these mega close-ups on Donald Trump's groin, and they've established that the trousers were indeed on the right way.
Pants went on backwards.
They blew them up massive on some screen. They worked out you can actually make out the zip.
Clear photographic evidence there was a zip in the right place.
Which begs the question, where did he get his pants tailored? Because they look terrible.
Yeah, they're bizarre.
Looks like one of those old 1970s suede couches where the fabric's all puckering around the corners.
I really like this one from Sam, because this sounds like a victim impact statement, this does. He says, people should get a fine who push a supermarket trolley with one hand and talk on the phone because they hit people and displays in supermarkets. It's happened to me. I have been hit. Ominous. Thank you, Sam. FIVEaa fine.
People wandering around with their phones, just head down, banging into things. Drives you mad.
John Blake in a moment.
Home renovations can be akin to climbing Everest. Every step of the way can be torturous to reach your ultimate goal. Well, the same could be said for home renovations, but not if you go with Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. The team at Bi-Urban have always believed the journey is just as important as the destination. So start your journey with Bi-Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit biurban.com.au.
Don't just get a forklift. Don't miss the Toyota Forklift Stacks and Jacks sale. Get hot deals across a range of new Toyota walkie stackers and electric pallet jacks. Plus receive a free Caltex Star Cash card up to the value of $500. The Toyota Forklift Stacks and Jacks sale. On now. Call 1-800-425-438 or toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota Forklift. T's and C's apply. Private buyers only. Offer ends August 31.
Now, you might think it's hard to get excited by shelving. If you think that, you've never listened to FIVEaa Breakfast.
That's right.
Because we talk about shaman shelving like it's a quasi-religious experience.
It is. It's almost like our own private cult here. So you've got to sign up, folks. Rowi's part of it. I'm part of it. And look, as we approach June 30, now is the perfect time to get in touch with Shaman Shelving and get your workshop fitted out.
From workbenches, shelving, cabinets, tool trolleys, open-angle shelving, stainless steel benches, steel cupboards, even van and cool room shelving, Shaman Shelving can literally do anything, including made to measure.
They can. And look, jump on their website and take a look, or visit their Facebook page. You'll be blown away with what the team at Shaman Shelving can make. Actually, do what I do. Just head on out there. It's great. It's a great way to spend an afternoon. Go in there, take some rudimentary design. Say, Bill, this is what I'd like you to do for me. And he'll go, yep, no worries. In fact, I think we've already done it. Do it before June 30. Take advantage of the instant asset write-off.
So if you're in business, Shaman Shelving should be your first go-to for a workshop fit-out. Ask Christine or Bill for a free measure and quote. Jump online at shamanshelving.com.au or call into 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens.
G'day, Rocco Lambrusco here in the City Traffic Chopper. Tonight I'll be eating an avocado smash westbound on Victoria Road. That's it from me in the chopper. Back to you. Order with Uber Eats tonight.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
All right, it's a minute to 8, should I say? Getting ahead of myself. And it's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your first officer again, just achieving our cruising height of 32,000 feet. It's a pretty nice day. Should be a nice smooth ride. We just need to remind you that masks do need to be worn at all times during the flight. Thanks for flying Virgin. We'll talk to you again as we make our approach to Adelaide.
What'd you say? I couldn't understand you.
I said, how long before we land?
I don't know, about half an hour, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay. We're supposed to have our masks on?
Yeah, I reckon we are.
How do you know?
Oh, the pilot guy just said we have to.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, why aren't we?
Well, I reckon you kind of are, because you've still got it hanging off your ear and then you've got it down below your nose.
Yeah, that's what I reckon. That should be okay, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I reckon as long as you've got a mask somewhere, I reckon that's okay.
But you're not wearing yours at all.
Nah, I took mine off.
But you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I know, but it's not because I think I'm better than everybody else. It's because I'm going through a bit of complacency.
Oh, right, that might be the story with me too.
Yeah, it could be, but at least you've still got yours half on, so it's only half complacent.
Jeez, I hope nobody takes a photo of us.
Yeah, I know, they might leak it to someone.
Yeah, what if they leak it to a breakfast radio show?
Yeah. Oh, well, as long as it's a show that's only running fourth in the ratings, we should be okay, because there's hardly anyone listening.
Yeah, but what if the show has one of our board members on it?
Oh, then we'll be in the shit.
Wouldn't it be a lot easier just to put our masks back on?
Yeah, well, it's not as if the club hasn't drummed it into us time and time again that we need to uphold the standards of responsibility when we're out in public.
Yeah, no, that's right.
I reckon coming off that loss to Richmond, you and I are just showing a temporary lack of judgment.
I reckon you're right.
Yeah.
Should we put our masks back on?
No.
More from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. Our weekend real estate wrap and breaking 8 next.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Windy with showers developing, 21 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
3 drivers have been charged and 3 vehicles defected after an alleged street race at McLaren Vale. Speeds in excess of 130 k's an hour were detected on Main Road before 9 last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says a 17, 18 and 19-year-old were arrested at Aldinga Beach.
The first one, the Holden Commodore sedan, was driven with the exhaust system removed from the car and a lowered suspension. The Holden Commodore wagon was defected due to bald tyres and a lowered suspension as well. And they've also removed the exhaust system from the Mitsubishi Mirage, and the front passenger seat was attached to the vehicle with a ratchet strap.
A house fire at Waterloo Corner is being treated as arson. The alarm was raised on Tozer Road just before 2 this morning. The occupant wasn't home and there were no reports of injuries. Investigations are continuing. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have announced the birth of their second child, a baby girl. Nine's Alison Petrowski reports from the US.
Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, Lily for short, was born at 11:40 a.m. on Friday, June 4 at Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital, weighing in at 7 pounds 11 ounces, roughly 3.5 kilos. Meghan and Harry announcing the news in a statement this morning. She is more than we could have ever imagined, and we remain grateful for the love and prayers we've felt across the globe. Lilibet is named after her great-grandmother, Her Majesty the Queen, whose family nickname is Lilibet. Diana, chosen to honour her late grandmother, the Princess of Wales. Lily is the Queen's 11th grandchild and is 8th in line to the throne.
Pharmacists argue if they were allowed to vaccinate people against COVID, the rollout could be finished up to 3 months faster. The Pharmacy Guild of Australia has released modelling pushing for the sector to be more involved. So far, Queensland is the only state including community pharmacists in the distribution. The May budget is yet to deliver a significant bounce to the federal government, with the latest opinion poll recording mixed results. Nine's Michael Packey has more.
Support for Labor and the Coalition is locked at 50% each after preferences. This marks an improvement for the Coalition government, which has been lagging the opposition for about 4 months. But the news poll also shows voters aren't as happy with Scott Morrison's leadership, especially as the blame game continues over Victoria's current lockdown. Labor, at both the federal and state level, claim problems with the vaccine rollout and quarantine are partly responsible for the situation. While Mr Morrison retains a healthy lead as preferred Prime Minister, support for opposition leader Anthony Albanese is up.
A world-first international study has identified a new drug to stop athletes developing dementia after sustaining repeated head injuries in their career. The new research findings could halt the progression of fatal brain disease CTE in sports people. The team of researchers from Adelaide, Melbourne and the United States say a drug could block the brain from releasing abnormal amounts of a protein in the event of a head knock. NASA has begun an investigation into recent reports of UFO sightings. Vision has been leaked of unidentified high-speed objects observed by Navy pilots in 2019. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson says he has turned to the space agency's scientists to work out exactly what it is.
We don't know if it's extraterrestrial. We don't know if it's an enemy. We don't know if it's an optical phenomenon. We don't think so because of the characteristics that those Navy jet pilots described as they saw it move around.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide is sitting in 15th spot after the completion of round 12. The Crows will take on St Kilda this Saturday night, while the Power are in 5th, but will jump to 3rd if they beat Geelong on Thursday night. 2 games to wrap up the round yesterday, with the Bulldogs cementing 2nd spot after beating Fremantle by 28 points, while West Coast got over Carlton by 22 points. Serena Williams has been beaten at the French Open. Nine's Craig Gabriel has more.
Serena Williams has lost another chance for the elusive record-tying 24th major. She was beaten by Elena Rybakina. The Kazakh won 6-3, 7-5. Roger Federer withdrew for physical reasons, giving Matteo Berrettini a walkover into the quarters. Stefanos Tsitsipas and Daniil Medvedev won and play each other in the quarters. And tonight, Novak Djokovic, Rafa Nadal and Iga Swiatek have matches.
The Adelaide 36 this season has finished in disappointment after suffering a 22-point loss against Melbourne United. The Sixers finished the season in 7th spot. The Adelaide Thunderbirds have recorded their first win of the season after a 6-goal win against the Melbourne Vixens. The T-Birds trailed by 2 at half-time but stormed home in the second half. American Patrick Cantlay has just won the Memorial Tournament in Ohio after a sudden death playoff victory over countryman Colin Morikawa. Mexico's Sergio Perez has won a drama-packed Azerbaijan Grand Prix overnight after Max Verstappen crashed out with only a few laps left before Lewis Hamilton locked his wheels and also fell out of contention. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo came 9th. And Aussie Jack Miller has finished 3rd in the Catalan MotoGP overnight, the race won by Portugal's Miguel Oliveira. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Verdun, look out for a car broken down on the ramp as you're heading onto the freeway towards Adelaide. At Seaford, a 2-car smash there, Seaford and Commercial Roads. Mount Osmond, the freeway has a lane closed outbound. That's both in the tunnels and above it. And Cherry Gardens, Hicks Road near Lewis Street. Got some cows on the side of the road, so take it easy around there. Busy Seaton, Tapley's Hill Road near Trimmer Parade to Grange Road. That's as you're heading towards the airport too. The Amazon.com.au mid-year sale is live now with great deals. Plus, new customers get free delivery on your first eligible order. T's and C's apply. Shop Amazon.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Windy today, showers developing, a top of 21. Tomorrow showers 13. Wednesday a shower or 2, 14. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
This is staggering. New research from the Heart Foundation revealed that more than half of those people who had a heart attack last year delayed seeking urgent help for fear of catching COVID or putting stress on the health system. People who had a heart attack, half of them went, could get COVID. Could get COVID! You had a heart attack! The latest biennial survey of more than 400 Australian heart attack survivors found 1 in 4 waited for more than an hour after a heart attack before doing anything. Policeman and Vincent Tarzia joins us.
So the impound penalties are changing. Obviously, like you pointed out, vehicles can be impounded for 28 days for a whole range of reasons, like dangerous driving, drink and drug driving, driving an unregistered vehicle. Believe it or not, after that, another 10-day period applies, and the penalty raises to $13.95, no coincidence, by day 38.
So when you say no coincidence, did you actually make that the fine because you want it to correspond with 5AA's call sign? And what does it say about our listeners?
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 after 8 did give us an idea, though. The car crushing fine may not be inspired by 5AA, but we thought if there's a $1,395 fine to levy, we should at least be able to come up with what it's for. And our listeners have come to the party this morning. Jane on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line says, guys, 2 things I think deserve the 5AA fine: wearing lycra when you're not competing in a professional cycling event, and 2, walking along with an empty pram in a busy shopping mall while your toddler runs amok in the shops. Thank you, Jane. And Dave says it's obvious. 5AA fine, $13.95 for touching the ball at the footy. Thank you, Dave.
Hey, if anyone did touch the ball at the footy, give us a ring.
Yeah, what'd you do?
I saw a guy actually get hit by it in the warm up.
Oh, you should tell this story. Yeah,
Yeah,
we suspect maybe he was trying not to touch it.
Well, there was an ambo looking after him. A St John's guy was looking after this bloke. He got hit by the ball. I don't know if he was trying to duck or what happened, but the ball hit him. A mate of mine was there. There was photos flying around of it. Poor bloke. Hope he's all right.
All right, let's talk real estate. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop is on the line. Morning to you, Susanna.
Good morning, guys.
So how was the weekend, Susanna? Despite the game, there were quite a few people there, but plenty of real estate activity, I'm guessing?
Look, there has been. I'm actually up in Byron Bay at the moment at a real estate conference, and the conversation, of course, has been all about how strong the market's been, not just in Adelaide, but right across the country. But we have had another very strong weekend. A couple of auction results just to highlight. We had a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom property on over 400 square metres on Kensington Road in Roslyn Park, sold over the weekend for $1.36 million, and a beautiful modern 2-storey home in McGill with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms on around 465 square metres, sold for $1.22 million. So another really big weekend on sales with activity, a lot of auction results coming through as well. And with our rental side of the business as well, we lease properties in Norwood, Golden Grove, Burnside, Black Forest, Glenelg North. So a really busy week on both the sales and the rental front.
And with prices climbing the way they are, who's the most active at the moment in the market?
Looks really interesting. In Sydney and Melbourne, we're hearing that first home buyers have pretty much been completely priced out of the market. So investors are starting to now take up that slack in the market because prices have just gotten too high for anyone really to be able to afford it, particularly first home buyers over there. But here in Adelaide, we're seeing a bit of a different story because we are much more affordable. We're seeing first home buyers, a lot of activity there, upsizes, downsizes, all the way through to investors. But what we are definitely seeing right across the country, in Adelaide, no different, is with prices climbing like they are, parents are really having to help a lot of their kids out to get into the property market. So they're really making the most of the valuations. They've been climbing, they're refinancing, grabbing that money out and actually helping kids get in, because that's pretty much, particularly Sydney and Melbourne, but a little bit in Adelaide as well, where that's really the way in which first home buyers have been able to get in, is sort of the bank of mum and dad is very much alive and well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's the weather up there, Susanna? I think you've chosen a good time to get away.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's sunny and the birds are chirping amongst the rain clouds. I am trying to keep an eye out for Chris Hemsworth. I haven't found him yet, but hopefully by the end of the day.
Well, good luck. Good luck, Susanna. Thank you. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop with our weekend real estate wrap. All right, it's time for Breaking Note.
Well, this next story is fascinating, and at its key question, it goes to the use of government money, taxpayers' money, to give businesses a bit of a kickstart, and whether those businesses are necessarily all that they seem. So we have learnt that the government spent just shy of $500,000 of taxpayers' money as seed funding for a computer game that, as things currently stand, does not actually exist. Now, there's a bit of a dispute here, and it involves some sort of tensions within the business that was designing this computer game that was called Mighty Kingdom, or rather the company itself is called Mighty Kingdom. It's Australia's largest independent game studio, And they engaged, a fellow by the name of Justin Daly engaged this company, Mighty Kingdom, to develop a game that he had invented. The game was called Kitty Keeper. Now, they received a grant in 2018 for $480,000. Now, since that money was forwarded to the company, the game hasn't been invented. Now, the fellow behind this has been trying to get to the bottom of it all. He's gone to Frank Pangello about it, who has raised this with the Auditor General. It's our understanding that the whole thing is going to end up in the federal court. It sounds like it's a pretty serious intellectual property dispute where the guy who had the idea is arguing with a lot of evidence to support his claim that that he's the creator of the game, and it was the promised creation of the game that was the basis on which the government got out the checkbook. I mean, there's a separate question, I think, about, if the game was going to be such a good idea, why didn't the game just get made?
Yeah.
I didn't know the government was in the business of underwriting, things you'd play with on your mobile phone. I would have thought, if we're going to, start chucking public money around for industry, maybe the old, currently not working Pfizer factory in Theberton might be a better place to start.
Absolutely. It feels the whole software development industry feels like the Wild West.
Yeah, it does, doesn't
because,
it?
If you spend $500,000 on a building, you'll see it. Oh, there it is. That's what we did. That's what it built. But if it started getting built and then just, the company decided, we're not going to bother with it anymore.
What's the benefit to the state's economy? I mean, if
I would guess
conceivably, if we became the home of Candy Crush, would that be a good thing?
I think what they're saying is they're trying to foster the software development industry in South Australia.
Yeah, right. Well, whatever the attempted fostering was here sounds all it's likely to foster is some protracted and expensive legal dispute. But interesting that it's been referred to the Auditor General. The Premier himself has written back to the fellow who has made the complaint, suggesting that the government doesn't think that there's any issues. He begs to differ, and it's all going to come out sooner rather than later.
16 minutes after 8, the federal government's Finance Minister, Simon Birmingham, will join us very shortly to talk about the future of the subs work here in South Australia. Not just the future sub program, but the full cycle docking, which we know is worth billions of dollars and potentially thousands of jobs. Hearing a decision's been made. We'll see if we can tease that out with him in a moment. First, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now at Dave Potter.
At Mount Osmond, the freeway has a lane closed outbound. That's both in the tunnel and above it. Busy on the drive in this morning. Glenelg East, Diagonal Road, Oaklands Road to Cliff Street as you're heading towards Brighton Road. At Parkholme, Marion Road, 6th Avenue to Bray Street, busy. That is city-bound. And look out for speed cameras this morning. Fox Creek Road at Cudley Creek and Gorge Road at Paracombe. The MG ZST compact SUV has more safety with a 360-degree camera. From 25,490 drive away, the MG ZST is the more you've been looking for. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Like a fresh Fritz and sauce sanger, or our God-given right to never pay tolls. From the glistening blue lake at Mount Gambier to the world's biggest rocking horse. Things that make our fine state. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. As SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
If you want to feel great about the milk you pour in your tea and coffee, over your cereal, or in your smoothie, make sure it's from the FIVEaa Milk Company. Because it's a great feeling buying from people who love SA as much as you do. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEaa Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. Feel like a cuppa now.
FIVEaa Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. FLurioMilkco.com.au.
G'day South Australia, a Cheats here. Over the years I've seen some great South Australian teams, but the best has to be the team from BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. They've been looking after the state's hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. You can find them on Richmond Road with stock on hand from quality brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Hydac and Enerpac. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
When you think great inventors in history, David, you think Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Tesla, Da Vinci, the Wright brothers, and Mike and Darren Steele here in Adelaide. They're the father and son duo that not only brought us the Clipsal safety switch, but they're now behind the Care Alert smart dialer. This is a brilliant product.
Certainly is, and if anyone tries to accuse Will of overstatement, have a listen to this, because this, in all seriousness, is one hell of an invention. It's basically like sort of Uber for the frail. They've developed a brand new Go Anywhere GPS pendant, and it can provide you with emergency assistance, not just at home, but anywhere you go. So you think about like GPS technology. You've got your Care Alert pendant with you. Your loved ones know where you are at any given time. Now, we've seen it working. It's incredible. If you suddenly become ill at home or you're out walking along your favourite track and you have a fall, you just press your emergency SOS button and people of your choice can be notified that you need help, and you can even talk to them through the pendant.
That's right. The Care Alert GPS Go Anywhere unit comes to you fully programmed and ready to use. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to set it up. There's no software. There's nothing for you to fiddle with. And if you've been approved for your My Aged Care or NDIS funding, you can have it for free. So you don't need to set anything up. You don't need to pay anything. It's certainly worth your time just to investigate.
And look, the other thing is you don't even need to press it. Like if you have a fall, if you're down the park and you have a fall, you don't even need to press it, because the unit actually knows if you've fallen over through motion sensors, and it will get you help without you needing to do a thing. Plus, it's fully waterproof. How about that?
Yeah, Care Alert have their own unique software program into this unit, making it the superior choice for such a brilliant product. And wait for it, under $399 delivered.
It's all thanks to Care Alert. Give them a call, 1300 75 85 95. That number again, 1300 75 85 95, or visit carealert.com.au. That's carealert.com.au.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery, or a bikey, whether they call you curly, tubby, or tiny, whether next door means a few feet or a few miles, we know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
It's incredible. Over 75% of tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery have already been sold. Don't miss your chance to live the dream in this fully furnished Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade at South Brighton that comes with $1 million cash. There are over 15,000 incredible prizes to win, including luxury vehicles, local getaways and so much more. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au and join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care. Licence M13989.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes after 8, Federal Finance Minister, South Australian Senator Simon Birmingham joins us. Senator, good morning to you.
Morning, Will. Morning, Pembo, and morning, listeners.
Thanks for joining us, Burmo. So are you in a position to give us a bit of a nudge, nudge, wink, wink about the subs yet? Because the Sunday Mail got very excited about it yesterday. Page 1 News, it sounds like, according to the paper, a decision has either been made or is imminent. You'd have to sign off on it, wouldn't you, in your finance role?
Well, look, I'll certainly be involved in any final decisions, but no, I'm not going to preempt where government will ultimately land. What I would say, though, is everybody should be certain there are many more jobs being had and to be had down at Osborne as part of the shipbuilding effort. I was talking to FIVEaa just the other day, and they reminded me they put on 1,000 extra staff last year as part of the Future Frigates build, and they're intending to put on another 1,000 staff this year as part of that build as well. And it's just a sign of the growth that is happening and will continue to happen down there.
How precarious is the current state of play with Naval Group with the Future Subs project?
Look, Prime Minister is heading off to the G7 meeting of leaders over the next week, and that's his opportunity for the first time to meet with Joe Biden in his new capacity as president, have a range of discussions. That's going to include the opportunity to meet with President Macron of France and I know that the PM is looking forward to talking about how we continue to work together on the attack class program. We are serious about delivering regionally superior, capable, highly skilled submarines for our future, and the partnership with naval groups is an important vehicle for doing that, and that's what the PM and President Macron will be talking about.
The Defence told Senate estimates that they'd been working on a contingency, a plan B, if the deal did fall over. Would that contingency be an off-the-shelf purchase, or would it remain something that would be built in South Australia?
I think all Defence said was that it was always prudent to have contingency planning, and of course, I think Australians would expect our Department of Defence to be the type of organisation to engage in prudent contingency planning. But we're committed to having submarines built and constructed in South Australia, to delivering the capability that our Navy needs, but also developing the skills on top of the highly skilled subset we already have at the ASC, to be able to enhance our defence industries across South Australia and indeed right across Australia as part of that build process. And so the plan is still well and truly one of having them built in Australia, in South Australia, and delivering those extra subs and that particular regionally superior capability for our Navy into the future.
Senator, can I ask you, we were saying before, the Victorian lockdown to us is now looking less like some terrifying public health sort of imposed set of circumstances, and more an act of political pride for the Victorian government. How worried is the federal government about the blunt instrument of lockdown being used to jump at what now appears to be a minor outbreak that could have been managed through effective contact tracing?
Sembo, we would always urge proportionality in the response that states and territories apply. Now, they have all of the evidence at their fingertips in terms of where the cases are coming in from, the number of exposure sites, the process around contact tracing, all of those different variants that they have to consider in terms of how they apply those restrictions. But I do hope that if we continue to see reductions in case numbers in Victoria, that they look very carefully at whether there's still any chance to perhaps ease restrictions a little early, or whether indeed they're able to at least let some kids get back to school, let some people get back to work. These are important things for the overall health and well-being of society, whilst of course keeping COVID under control and suppressed is crucial, and that's why we do ultimately back the judgment based on the evidence that's there.
Yeah, but I mean, as Finance Minister, surely as a country, and when you consider there's been more people in hospital in Queensland with COVID than in Victoria. Queensland hasn't gone into a lockdown. New South Wales managed the barbecues galore case. It managed the Northern Beaches cases without shutting down the entire state. I mean, we can't surely as a country have a situation where you have this skittish response that personified by the Andrews Molino government, and you as Finance Minister, i.e. us the taxpayers, are expected to underwrite decisions like that into perpetuity.
Well, the consequences are real. The consequences in terms of the economic consequences, the budget consequences, but also the human consequences. A number of friends in Victoria have spoken to me quite passionately about the concern for their kids who endured such a tough year last year in terms of school closures and facing all of those stresses again. And so they all have to be really carefully weighed. There's no doubt the Berejiklian government in New South Wales has shown a real resolve in terms of backing their contact tracers and their systems, and have been successful in doing that without applying such widespread lockdowns. And I hope that every other state continues to learn from each of these outbreaks and finds the best possible way to minimise the need for lockdowns, maximise the ability to suppress using those other techniques and systems.
Good stuff. Senator Simon Birmingham, the Federal Finance Minister and Liberal Senator for South Australia, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, guys. My pleasure.
Hey, just to round out that breaking at 8 too, I didn't actually say which government it was that was in power when the grant was given. It was actually in the dying days of Labor. So the grant to mighty kingdom was actually given under the previous government when Kaya Ma, I think, was the Minister for Industry.
Yeah. Well, the significant thing about that story that's breaking is that it's been referred to the Auditor General. So there's going to be more. There's going to be more that comes out.
Yeah.
And the truth will come out.
Yeah.
Whatever it might well be. All right, let's have a look at the fuel situation. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. It's actually gotten a lot better. Geez, we were in a nasty place in the middle of last week. Over the weekend, largely around $1.40 now. You won't see it for too much above that. There are a few cheaper spots. $1.19 at the Coles Express on OG Road in Clemsig. $1.25 at the Caltex Woolies in North Adelaide on O'Connell Street. $1.23 on Grand Junction Road in Rosewater. $1.22 at the BP on the Run on Marion Road in Marion. And $1.21 at the Coles Express on Yorktown Road in Elizabeth Park.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. At Lynn Andrews Real Estate, we've seen a lot of change in the property market over the last 50 years. But one thing remains constant: our passion to help people invest in the future, to build strong property portfolios in commercial and residential real estate. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share with you. We are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Great business starts when you're in control. With the Optus Business Connect plan, get up to 8 SIMs and up to 300 gig of data, all on one simple plan. Great business starts with yes. Explore the Optus Business Connect plan in-store or online today. T's and C's apply.
Now, have you ever heard the saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey? Well,
I have.
Bit of fortune cookie philosophy.
Yes, exactly.
Could not be truer when it comes to home renovations. It's hard to get excited about a new bathroom or kitchen reno if the whole process is a living nightmare.
Not so. I know people who've gone to buy urban bathrooms and kitchens. They dream about the process. They wish that it was still happening, and it's not happening because it got done perfectly, it got done on budget, and it got done on time. It's all about the journey at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. And that's because Coxie and the entire team, they go to amazing lengths to ensure the whole process is trouble-free. From meeting Tammy, who's affectionately known as the Boss Lady, through to their incredible design team and millimetre-perfect tradies, the tidiest tradespeople you'll meet, and what's more, they are on time.
We spoke about this a little bit earlier. When it comes to any form of building, you just want to go, oh, that's the thing I want, and one day I'll walk in and it's there.
Yeah.
And then you don't get me involved in anything else.
Yeah.
That's kind of rare, except for Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. They make sure that you don't have to worry about it at all. Start your journey to a stunning and worry-free home renovation with Buy Urban Bathrooms, Kitchens, Flooring and Shutters. Adelaide's home renovation experts. Visit buyurban.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
The top of 21 today, showers developing with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
3 cars were detected doing excessive speeds on the main road at McLaren Vale shortly after 8:30 last night. The trio were doing around 135 k's an hour in an 80 zone. Police caught up with them at Aldinga Beach. Senior Constable Matt Brown says it's alleged all 3 drivers knew each other.
A 19-year-old man from Hackham, an 18-year-old man from Aldinga Beach and a 17-year-old boy from Morford Vale all reported for aggravated engaging in a street race, driving at excessive speed and breaching the conditions of their provisional licences. So all cars are impounded for 28 days and all 3 will be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
Pay up or kiss your car goodbye. That's the message ahead of new Hoon driving laws to come into effect from July 1. Police Minister Vincent Tarzia says cars will be crushed if fines aren't settled on time.
Vehicles can be impounded for 28 days for a variety of offences, including dangerous driving, drink and drug driving, driving an unregistered or uninsured vehicle, or without a licence. The penalties can jump as high as $1,395.50 by day 38.
There's still no indication where the Delta strain of COVID-19, which has popped up in Melbourne, has come from. It's one of 2 variants that first showed up in India, which are now active interstate. While it's said to be more infectious, Professor Sharon Lewin from the Doherty Institute has told Nine the vaccines also offer protection to the Delta variant.
A lot of work's been done on this in the UK, where the Delta variant is the main variant circulating. And after the second dose of both vaccines, there certainly is protection, 80% reduction in infection if you've had 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine and 60% reduction if you've had 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk will receive her first coronavirus vaccine today. Our Premier received his first Pfizer jab back in February. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have announced the arrival of their second child, a baby girl. Meghan has given birth to Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor in California, making her the first of the Queen's great-grandchildren to be born outside the UK. The couple has released a statement saying both mother and child are healthy and well. UK correspondent Adam Gilchrist says the name celebrates two important women in Harry's life.
So Lilibet, the nickname of the Queen, Diana obviously after Harry's mother, so Meghan's family don't get a look in on the name. And does it sound more royal than Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor?
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. FIVEaa Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
With everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yeah, let's start there. Adelaide's players will come out of quarantine later today as they prepare for Saturday night's clash against St Kilda in Cairns. The Crows looking to bounce back after the disappointment of Saturday's 5-point loss to Collingwood. To tennis, and Germany's Alexander Zverev has breezed into the quarterfinals of the French Open after crushing Kei Nishikori in straight sets. Serena Williams lost her fourth-round match, though, to Kazakhstan's Alina Rybakina. American Patrick Cantlay has won his 4th PGA event after taking out the Memorial Tournament in Ohio. The 29-year-old was tied with fellow American Colin Morikawa, forcing the pair into a playoff. Morikawa missing his par putt from 6 feet to hand Cantlay the title.
Patrick Cantlay is the winner for the second time at Memorial. He's the champion, just the 7th multiple winner of this event.
Audio there thanks to Fox. Aussie Ben Simmons has posted 17 points and 10 assists for his Philadelphia 76ers, but it wasn't enough as his side went down by 4 points to Atlanta in the first match of their NBA Conference semi-final playoff. One other game today with the LA Clippers winning 126-111 against Dallas to force their series into a deciding Game 7. And the test match between England and New Zealand has finished in a draw at Lords, chasing 273 to win. The home side finished at 3 for 170. And Australian Richie Porte has finally won the Criterium Dauphiné, having been runner-up in the stage race through France twice in his career. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Mount Osman, the freeway has a lane closed outbound. That's both in the tunnel and above it. Getting busy on the drive into Prospect, Churchill Road, Gladstone Road to Torrens Road as you're heading into the city. Glenelga East, Diagonal Road, Oakland Road to Cliff Street as you're heading towards Brighton Road. And Parkcombe, Marion Road, 6th Avenue to Bray Street, that is city-bound. A couple of speed cameras today, Para Road, Evanston and Redbanks Road at Williston. Totally Workwear's epic end of financial year sale is now on. For hot prices on hard yakka, Blundstone, Oliver and more, head to Totally Workwear, Australia's largest workwear supplier. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
And in breaking news, Victoria has recorded another 11 COVID cases today. Windy with showers developing 21 today, tomorrow showers and 13, Wednesday a shower or 2, 14. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
So, you've got a will. But, is your estate plan in place? What if you lose capacity to manage your financial affairs or to make medical or health decisions? What happens then? Who gets your superannuation? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
At Allianz, we're behind your small business. If you need public liability insurance and more, choose from a range of covers to suit your business. Get your insurance certificate of currency instantly. And if cash flow is important, pay by the month at no extra cost. Plus, you could save up to 15% on your first year's premium when you buy a new business insurance pack online. Go online or call today. Allianz, behind you for what's ahead. Any advice is general only. Eligibility criteria and minimum premiums apply. Go online or call for a PDS to see if Allianz is right for you.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 9, behind closed doors shortly. The host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Koch, coming up as well. You just heard in 5AA News with Mel Usher a moment ago, Victoria announced 11 new locally acquired cases, none of those from overseas. That's in the past 24 hours to midnight, from 24,265 test results. They administered in that same time 17,719 doses of the vaccine. 650,000 doses so far have been administered in Victoria, but it's the number 11 that will have people a little bit concerned.
You'd think if on the basis of the 4 cases yesterday, the government there was emphatically saying there won't be any adjustment to lockdown, that 11 doesn't bode well. I mean, if their benchmark for keeping a hard lockdown in place was 4, if anything, this is going to embolden them further. Who knows? And anyone listening who was planning on seeing loved ones, I know a mate of mine was meant to be seeing his sister in Melbourne this weekend, over the long weekend. She was meant to be flying into Adelaide. All of that's off. There'll be a lot of South Aussies who are in a similar position. Remarkable video posted yesterday on the Advertiser's website via the Port Adelaide Football Club, where Port Adelaide legend Russell Ebert has opened up and given a remarkably courageous and warm insight into how he's fighting back in the face of this shocking blood cancer diagnosis.
It's been a big shock to the system after having so many years of good health. That certainly turned things on its head back in December. Had terrific support from specialists and that at Ashford and Royal Adelaide Hospital. And now, fortunately, I'm at home and able to sort of carry on as we can. When you win that premiership, you win it for the whole club. You win it for every supporter.
It's an amazing interview because I watched it yesterday at home, and it's actually a really good interview about footy.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really good interview about the golden era of the SANFL, and also like the fact that the Port Adelaide Football Club is regarded as a juggernaut. Well, it is, and rightly, but Ebert was part of a sustained period of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. He talked about the 1976 grand final, referred to it as the debacle. And it wasn't until the following year, 77, when Port won, where they felt like they'd righted the ship down at Alberton. So for footy fans, there's a lot to enjoy in the interview. And, you know, this is a man who, when the club said, okay, who's our greatest player of the 20th century, he was like, well, okay, the question you should ask is, who's our second best player?
It took half a second to answer the question. Yeah.
But beyond that, the most important thing about Russell Ebert, and I was lucky enough to meet him a few times, he's just the nicest person. He is such a great bloke, so caring. He's a bit of an unsung hero of women's sport. I remember years ago, before AFLW was a thing, would have been 10 years ago when I just started seeing Kate, we went to their McGarry Medal equivalent, and Russell was there hosting it on the night. And this is what when there's a real knockabout comp, like all these girls from Greenacres and places like that. And he was just there, and I was talking to him that night, and he said, this is the future of football. This is, when this gets up and running, this is going to be massive. Used to see him a bit at Grange Primary. I always felt like a total fraud standing there on the sidelines coaching with Russell Ebert there, and often Scott Hodges there watching his son play as well.
No pressure.
Useless half-wit like me. These blokes with like 700 games and 600-odd goals between them. Probably more than that, actually, goals-wise. But just the nicest guy, and he'd always come over and say g'day. So, Russell, if you're listening, all the very best, mate. Keep on fighting, and you got your family with you, and everyone, not just Port people, anyone with an interest in not just a great South Australian, but the history of football in this state, will enjoy watching that video.
Well said. Do you know someone who would benefit from a new Windows 10 PC laptop? If you do, maybe together with Leader Computers, we can help out. All you need to do is head to the 5AA Win page. You've got 25 words in which to tell us who should be awarded with a Leader Computers Windows 10 PC laptop and why. They're a wonderful company, wonderful South Australian business, the largest 100% Australian PC brand, and they're built right here in Adelaide as well, which means you're supporting the local SA economy while also getting the best local service and support. So whoever it might well be, could be a friend, a family member, your local school, maybe it is your local sporting club. Maybe a coach like David who wants the tablet nearby. Get on to 5AA.com.au. Let us know. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller. We'll check traffic now thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles now at Dave Potter.
At Mount Osmond, the freeway has a lane closed outbound. That's both in the tunnel and above it. Getting busy at Prospect, Churchill Road, Gladstone Road to Torrens Road as you're heading towards the city. Oakland Elk East, Dogan Road's quite chockers today. Oaklands Road to Cliff Street, that's as you're heading towards Brighton Road. And Parkholm, really busy today. Marion Road, 6th Avenue to Bray Street as you're heading into the city as well. At the Mazda Moment end of financial year sale, the moment to make it yours is now. Visit your Mazda dealer to arrange a test drive today. There isn't a moment to lose. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing, and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Couriers. Don't send it, ace it.
Don't wait for spring to get cleaning. This cooler weather's perfect for spending time at home decluttering. And by donating your quality clothing and homewares to Vinnie's, you can feel good about letting them go, because profits from their sale will help people doing it tough in our community. You could even say that Vinnie's are compassion converters, transforming your pre-loved treasures into a hand-up for people who need it. Find out where to donate at vinnies.org.au/shops.
Whether you're a Sparky, a Chippy, a Fiery or a Bikey. Whether they call you Curly, Tubby or Tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. I'm no fortune teller, but if you don't have solar on your roof, I can tell you your next power bill is going to be huge. There's a price for keeping warm all winter, and you're about to pay it. Stop paying huge bills. Get in touch with NRG Solar, and from just $59 a fortnight, you could have a quality NRG solar system on your roof. From just $59 a fortnight, you could wipe out your power bills. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
Major road resurfacing works on the South Eastern Freeway between the Toll Gate and Hyson tunnels will be underway until mid-2021. Motorists should expect delays, so allow extra travel time. Visit dit.sa.gov.au/SE Freeway. A message from the Government of South Australia.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
13 minutes to 9. It's time for the host of Channel 7 Sunrise program, David Kosh, to join us. Morning, Koshy.
Good morning, gents. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you too, Koshy. You got a footy game on Thursday night or not yet, you know?
Haven't heard as yet. We're quite sort of hopeful that it will go ahead. Authorities are looking at it now. We will still have a game on Thursday night, and we're pretty confident it will be Adelaide Oval. If not, then it's likely to be the SCG or in Sydney. I think it's, and the issue at the moment is getting Geelong out after the game under the precautions. It is late, and of course with the curfew on some planes, that will make it difficult, but smaller aircraft are allowed to go in and out. So we're looking at all the possibilities of working out a plan with the health officials, Adelaide Oval, and also the police. So that's well underway. Hopefully we'll know today.
Could it be brought forward time-wise, Koshy? Could it start earlier?
No.
Because that would work for TV.
No, it won't work for TV. And I think there is a commitment because it's a big Thursday night game that with broadcast rights and the like, that it has to stay at that time slot. So
well, the Crows aren't playing at Adelaide this weekend. Could it be held on Saturday?
No, they want to. They need to keep it on Thursday night. Basically, it's got to be Thursday night somewhere. We're hopeful that it will be Adelaide Oval, but if not, the likelihood would be in Sydney. But obviously,
so do the TV rights trump the financial interests of football clubs? Because if you don't have a home game, you lose about $1 million, don't you?
And we lose a lot. You don't need to tell me that. I'm one of the few people that walk into a game and look around the crowd and do the calculations myself. So I know exactly what goes on. But look, there is the greatest of goodwill between the government and health authorities and to make this work on Thursday night. So we're pretty confident that will happen.
What's your assessment from New South Wales on how it's being handled here in South Australia? Because the nature of our restrictions here have meant that, things like we weren't really in the running for things like the movement of the Dreamtime of the G game or some of these other things.
No. Look, I think everyone is learning about this as we go along, and sort of the different protocols that are needed. For example, the Collingwood Crows game seemed to go off without a hitch, and that's great credit to both clubs and authorities and Adelaide Oval all the way along. It was great to see some of the spectators take their oven mitts along.
You can't be too careful.
Extra safety. You got to laugh at times, is that? Because the stress. It's a layer of stress on everyone's lives, every single person's lives that you don't need at the moment, but is necessary, and we've got to do the right thing. So you just have to take on board the best advice from your medical authorities. And one thing I don't like at the moment is how states are playing each other off against or slagging each other. I don't think that is helpful at all. Both politicians or people on social media, just let every state make their own decision, give them the right to make their own decision and respect that. And if you disagree, you agree to disagree. It shouldn't be all-out war because it's just narkiness that we don't need at the moment. So
I know, Koshy, we've discussed in the past how nice it would be if the AFL Grand Final could be like the Super Bowl, and I know contractually it can't. They've nailed it down for decades in Victoria through the MCC. But having said that, do you think it's a bit tasteless for Western Australia to sort of be going as hard as it is right now when Victoria is still struggling? Is it vulture-like, do you think, for them to be doing it?
Yeah, look, I think you can put your intentions out there, but no state is better than the other. In my view, everyone is handling it differently, and there, but for the grace of God, go any state. And karma has come back to get so many different states after they've shown off or whatever. We just need everybody to be sensible about it, and it's the last thing Victorians need in lockdown is to have other states at this stage, I think, going, well, we're going to put in a bid to take your grand final. Now, while that may be a possibility, and who knows in the future, because Victorians are getting vaccinated, at Australian record rates at the moment, which is fantastic. I don't think people need that on their plate, and we've got to be a bit compassionate to communities that, for one reason or another, are doing it tougher than others at the moment, and we've just got to be aware of that. And that's what the Australian spirit is, and that's what the Australian community is all about and always has been, which is the thing I love. So let's not change that now.
Yeah, well said. Good on you, David. David Koch from Sunrise on 7. You too. Cheers, mate.
It's 6 minutes to 9, and it's time to go behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
5AA Weekend Breakfast with Mike Keelan and Angie McBride.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Michael and Angie show. And good morning, Michael. How are you?
Right. Hello, Angela. How are you? Do you like being called Angela?
Well, my mother always called me Angela, but you're a Michael to me. You're not a Mike. I can't call you Mike. Do you like being called a Mike? You're a Michael to me, not a Mike.
Well, what about Matthew Pantelis? Is he a Matthew or a Matty or a Pants?
No, I just can't do it. He has to be a Matthew. He's a Matthew to me, not a Matty or a Pants, and you're a Michael to me, not a Mike. It's a Michael.
Right. What about KG?
Well, he's a KG.
You could call him Ken.
Well, I could call him Ken. I think that'd be all right. Or I could call him Kenneth. I wonder how he'd react if I called him Kenneth.
And what about Cornsey?
Well, he's a Graham, not a Grey or a Grey. I couldn't call him Grey. He's a Graham, and you're a Michael, not a Mike.
Right. Why don't we talk about the ratings?
Well, there are dozens of reasons, Michael, why we shouldn't talk about the ratings, but the main one is because no one listening cares.
Right, well, that won't stop us.
No, it won't, but all you have to remember, Michael, is that if you listen to Liz and I and our instructions, you can't go wrong.
Right, but who's going to tell you about your grammar?
What do you mean?
Well, you should have said listen to Liz and me there, not Liz and I, so if bad grammar's going to make people turn us off, then we're in big trouble.
Yes, that's true, isn't it, considering your grammar's not much better than mine?
Yes, that's actually quite true, just between you and I.
Is it you and I or you and me?
I'm not sure. I think it's you and I.
No, I think it might be you and me, but then my grammar's not very good.
No, neither is mine.
Either is mine, isn't neither.
5 minutes to 9.
Living with osteoarthritis means living with pain, but SportsMed is changing that thanks to the revolutionary GLAD program. Here's SportsMed's Dr. Greg Keane with more.
GLAD is a 6-week exercise program performed in groups, and it continues to produce remarkable results for patients, even a year after completing the course. If you are struggling with the pain of osteoarthritis, visit SportsMed. Let's beat this.
SportsMed.
Start living life again, even with arthritis.
Sportsmed.com.au.
For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
Country quality is all in the details. The installers who come to your home are members of Country, not contractors. Our installers work only for us, so they take real pride in what they do. Get expert installation by our own professionals and a result you can be proud of. You'll love the Country installation advantage. So now, let's make it for you. Visit countryblinds.com.au for a free measure and quote.
Mate, no footy for me tonight.
Oh, what's up?
I reckon my toe's infected. I'm about to call 000.
Okay. Well, can you walk?
No, I can't. It's really sore and swollen.
You don't call 000 unless it's an emergency, mate. Call Health Direct or hit up your GP.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, good luck in the game tonight, mate.
Yeah, without you, might actually stand a chance.
yeah, right.
Is it really an emergency? Call Health Direct on 1800 022 222 to find the best healthcare option for you. A message from the Government of South Australia.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Couple minutes to 9 o'clock. Piers Morgan was interviewed by Carl Stefanovic on 60 Minutes last night. Here's a bit of what he had to say.
I didn't know this at the time, but Meghan Markle had personally complained to the boss of my company, ITV, on the Monday night.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't told this till after I'd left, and I was demanded that I apologise for disbelieving her, or I would have to vacate my chair. I thought there was hypocrisy. I thought there were downright lies coming out in this interview, and I saw my job to hold these two people to the same account I would hold a government minister. And for doing that, within 36 hours, I had to leave the job. You're not allowed to have strong opinions about things. You're not allowed to disbelieve a liar like Meghan Markle. I'm sorry to call her that, but she tells lies. And we've demonstrated that and proven that. Well, why can't she disbelieve somebody like that? If you started telling me a lot of whoppers right now, am I supposed to believe you? Do I have to believe you? It's crazy.
See, that guy is the consummate showman.
Yep.
But I reckon he sounds like he's bordering on obsessive there.
Mm.
Do they deserve to be treated with the same level of scrutiny as a government minister? Or specifically does she? Maybe Harry does because he's part of the firm. And whether they like it or not, they're part of the system of government in the United Kingdom. Does she deserve that? And calling her a liar, I mean, what's she lied about? Has she lied about anything that materially affects the quality of anyone's life?
Yeah, I think at worst they're just deeply irritating. But I don't think that's a crime.
No.
The whole stuff about the website and, I understand it can, and I'm in that camp.
But if you're going to go to war against people, I don't think they're evil.
No.
They're just a bit self-absorbed.
Yeah, at worst they're just self-absorbed. Well, I think which is fine to point out. But yeah, when making it a crusade is a weird choice.
I know. There's surely other bigger things to crusade about.
Yeah, I think so. Leon Biner's coming up in just a moment, and we'll be back tomorrow morning from 6.